Let's get it on! Hello, Charky. Hello, Johnny.
Hello.
Hey, Cass.
This is a big one tonight. Welcome, one and all. Welcome, everyone at home. Welcome to the Bad Game Hall of Fame. Welcome to Takeshi no Chōsenjō, also known as Takeshi's Challenge, or Great Challenge from Takeshi. This is one of, if not the most infamous kusogē ever released. Its reputation has endured through decades, as has the actor, director, radio star, best-selling author, comedian, etc., at the core of it. We'll get into a bit on Beat Takeshi and Takeshi Kitano in the history section, as well as covering the development of this game. But I want to begin by saying that this is perhaps, in addition to being the most infamous kusogē of all time, infamous shitty game, this is maybe one of the most misunderstood video games of all time, I would dare to say. I think people have been getting the story wrong on this one since 1986, since its initial release date, which we are celebrating, obviously. This is December 10th, as we're recording this. This was released initially December 10th, 1986. Never left Japan. Released for the family computer known as the NES in North America. Developed by Seta and/or Nova Corporation. That's a little bit sketchy. We'll get into that. Where the credit really lies for that. And of course, published by Taito. But
Second only to Spec Ops: The Line in terms of most misunderstood video games of all time.
Go to hell.
I keep telling them the message of the game is that war is cool, and no one believes me.
One of these days, we will get to it, and the message will be revealed. In the meantime, we got this one to take care of. We have this one that we are going to earnestly, honestly defend as being a genuine innovator. Maybe one of the most forward-thinking video games of its era. One of the most technically impressive for 1986 for the NES. There's not enough words to describe how much shit this game started, innovated. And it's all thanks to one Takeshi Kitano, otherwise known as Beat Takeshi, who, according to lore, according to legend, scribbled all the ideas he had for the game down on a cocktail napkin at a bar while drunk. Other historical recollections have him having an hour-long talk with the developers and then disappearing into the night. Neither of these are true, necessarily. There was a lot of drinking involved, though, I can confirm that much. What do either of you know about this game going into it? I want to get your impressions, what your understanding of this game is, just from popular culture and videos that have existed surrounding this game.
Well, most of my familiarity with Beat Takeshi comes from his most extreme elimination challenge, which is to say Takeshi's Castle. But I've definitely known about this game for a very long time. It's got that history. I saw like LPs of it back in the Something Awful days, the Seas Crabs LP of it. Of course, there's the JonTron video that everyone has seen, and that there may be people who have issue with the accuracy of it. But, you know, it is a legendary kusogē. So I have definitely seen a lot about it, and a lot of people talking about, like, the critical path, which I think is something that we will discuss. But I've never played it myself. And to be honest, I've never had the desire to play it myself, but I can appreciate it from a distance.
How about you, Johnny?
So, it's a game I'd always heard of, but my main exposure to seeing a substantial amount of the game was the Game Center CX episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my main exposure. Funny enough, haven't really watched any until recently watched YouTube videos on it. So that's been my main exposure. And yeah, like knowing Takeshi Kitano outside of it, but pretty much just Game Center CX. Yeah.
For me, this goes a ways back. I've always been sort of interested in the kusogē scene. I was very interested in the Japanese web in the early 2000s and seeing what the latest we didn't call them memes back then, we called them fads, coming out of Japan, the Japanese internet were, and a lot of them centering around, the 8-bit era of kusogē, getting exposed early to the likes of Spelunker and other infamous titles from that period, and Takeshi's Challenge being among them, and then starting to hear message board rumors about this impossible game, about this game that's designed to be bad, that's designed to troll the players, troll the audience, and whatnot. And then, obviously, as we enter the modern era of the internet, the video era, seeing some of those YouTube videos, seeing folk basically just follow the A to B path to complete the game, and even Game Center CX, for its part, does that. All of these people fundamentally misunderstanding what this game is. Yes, this game is designed to antagonize players. We will certainly get into that and experience that in real time. But it's also not a game that's meant to be beaten. Following the critical path, getting to the ending, as it were, is really not the goal of the game. The goal of the game is to fuck around in this world that is laid out in front of you, to discover where you can go and what you can do, and to enjoy doing those things. To basically do this salaryman simulator, and along the way, there are hints, there are clues, there are suggestions as to, well, you could be doing this. But ultimately, it's a primrose path. Ultimately, it is meant to say that, no, the purpose of this game is not necessarily to beat it, it is to enjoy it, it is to experience it, it is to experience the gags. We're gonna get into all this stuff later. I just wanted to get out up front that if your preconceived notions of this game are that it's just intentionally bad, that is designed just to piss you off, that's not necessarily true. And I can't blame people for getting it wrong. I mean, those videos are pervasive, are a very easy way to get introduced to this game, and then most people don't see the need to dive any deeper than that. And why should they? It's a goofy NES game from 1986. But again, I like to dig a little bit deeper. The Bad Game Hall of Fame likes to give these games their due, and by golly, we're going to give this game its due. But before that, what we gotta do, before we give it its due, is do Charky's Stream Snack segment.
Alright, tonight's stream snack is Wow Bao Chicken Teriyaki Bao. Still not my favorite of the two I've had. The previous one was the barbecue pork, which I think was a little better, but this is fine. It's really good in a pinch because you can make both of them in like 2 minutes. Tonight's drink, we are continuing the quest to find the best Alani new slush flavor. We've done blue, we've done pink, and tonight we're doing Alani new cherry slush. Now, cherry is not that correct there. Cherry is not a flavor I go out of my way to have.
Neither do I.
Just like artificial cherry, but it's not like grape where I find it undrinkable. So let's see. Like, I really love like a cherry limeade, right? This isn't cherry limeade, but let's see how a cherry slush is.
And while you're sipping that, what are you drinking, Johnny?
Oh, I just have a coffee. Just a cappuccino.
And I got my Monster Energy Ultraviolet back on deck.
We burn the midnight oil.
So the problem I have with artificial cherry is I think it has like kind of a medicinal flavor to it. Like, real cherries are delicious, but like pure artificial cherry flavor tastes like medicine to me. This has a little bit of that medicinal flavor, but it's undercut by like the sweetness of the syrup kind of flavor that they have going. So rating them among the other slushes, I don't know, I'd probably put this at the bottom. It's not bad, but cherry's definitely not for me. So right now the ranking is pink slush, then blue slush, and then cherry slush. I think that'll do it for my stream snack.
Thank you kindly for that. I reckon it's time we get into some history, isn't it? And we have a fair bit of it to get through. Word of warning. So, nothing to it but to do it. And I'm going to have us take turns reading some of this because I do not want to lose my voice before we get into the game. But I will certainly get it started and be interjecting, obviously. So, for starters, we got scooped. For starters,
Yeah.
I want to talk about a serious case of creator envy I have. This is the thumbnail to a video by one COMMENTATORS and their video exploring Takeshi's impossible challenge. This video was posted 4 weeks ago, a month ago, and I came across it yesterday or the day before yesterday when I realized we were going to do this video and I wanted to do some last minute research for it. This is a 55-ish minute video, hour-long video. It is great. There's just no two ways about it. This video is awesome. It's the best video I've ever seen. Maybe the only good video I've ever seen on the subject of Takeshi no Chōsenjō.
I believe it's actually a compilation video of 4 different videos that they did, but this is all together and has some new and updated information in it too.
The definitive version
Yeah.
of this video, of their video series. And I can't praise it enough. It's really good. Better than whatever shit we're gonna put on. And honestly,
we're going to talk a lot more about the history of the game.
Yes, we will.
That video doesn't go into like, the background of the game, but it goes through a lot of like what is in the game.
Most certainly. So please to check it out. I also had a little brief back and forth with that connoisseur individual where I told them that I was envious of them. They're like, sorry to steal your thunder. And they seem very nice. Check out their channel. Check out this video. For some of the missing pieces, they get into incredibly deep detail on the game. And we will too tonight, but there's some aspects we won't be able to fully cover that they are, in fact, able to. But enough promoting other people. Let's talk about Beat Takeshi Kitano, born January 18th, 1947, which would currently age him at 77, born in Adachi, Tokyo, Japan. In 1973, this is a very brief bio. It's impossible to cover the story of this man without dedicating like 4 or 5 hours to it. He's a legend. In 1973, one of his first big breaks was forming a comedy duo, a manzai group, called Two Beats, with his fellow comedian Kiyoshi Kaneko, who later became Beat Kiyoshi. Beat Takeshi, Beat Kiyoshi. Many of Kitano's routines, many of his characters, involved him portraying a gangster or other harsh characters, and because of this, Kitano has said that after playing at comedy clubs, he would be invited to drink with the Yakuza in attendance, who would just tell him all the gossip, tell him all the stories about the big crime bosses in Japan. So he had an in, and by 1986, he had now become a film director, which is what he's most known for now, globally speaking. So even though he hadn't endeavored in that endeavor yet, he was already a cultural icon in Japan. He hosted many TV shows, including several named after himself. These include Tenzai Takeshi's Genki Dageru TV, Beat Takeshi's Sports General, and you may have heard of Takeshi's Castle, a thrilling, spontaneous program. That is the full title of the original Takeshi's Castle. And all the time he's also remaining active as an actor. He was an author. He published an essay collection titled Takeshi Kunhai, which became a bestseller in Japan. And he became known for his sharp social criticism on radio programs that attracted attention nationwide. For a time, and arguably to this day, he is known as the most popular man in Japan, and also as the busiest man in Japan. It is said that there was not a day that went by without seeing Takeshi Kitano on TV or in magazines during his heyday in the 80s, and honestly through the 90s and maybe even to the 2000s. Mentioning his film career, this is obviously going outside the scope of 1986, going beyond the game that we're going to talk about, but his debut as a real serious actor was in the David Bowie movie Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, where he does a great job as a general at a POW camp. His directorial debut, which he also starred in, was in Violent Cop, which is much like Bad Lieutenant, in that he just plays like an asshole cop, and he is like a true scumbag in that movie, to great effect. People may have heard of his movie Sonatine, which was a bomb in Japan, but got global critical acclaim and basically put him on the map as a massive director. And other folk watching may have seen him. You may remember him for his role in Battle Royale, where he plays like the teacher in charge of the Battle Royale program. He gives like the briefing in the classroom, and he factors into the conclusion of that movie. If you want to watch Takeshi Kitano at his best as director and actor, I cannot recommend highly enough a trilogy of movies, of Yakuza movies he put out called the Outrage Trilogy, which are some of the best Yakuza movies ever fucking made. Like right up there with Battles Without Honor or Humanity in terms of just like incredible Yakuza movies. His style is blunt. It's brutal. It is real, and it is great. I don't have enough positive words to say about those fucking movies. Takeshi Kitano fucking rules. And sorry, I'm to just fangirl out a little bit here at the top, but he really is that good. He really deserves all his fame. He is a genius. But let's get back to the subject at hand. Why don't we? Get back to the year 1986, where a little game by the name of All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. Was released, an officially licensed retool of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. The game was produced in 1986 for the Family Computer Disk System. This version of the game is based on the Japanese radio program All Night Nippon, which is a program that I think to this day continues to broadcast across the Nippon Broadcasting System and other radio stations that carry it. Airs between 1 and 5 a.m. Japan Standard Time. The game itself was sold through a lottery system on the show itself to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the program in the upcoming year. This is all relevant, of course, because Beat Takeshi was one of the hosts of the program, was the Thursday host of the show. The game was published by the Nippon Broadcasting System, a subsidiary of Fuji Television, who would also go on in their capacity as their brief stint as game publishers to publish a little game by the name of Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic.
Now,
Don't
Cass,
say anything.
Did you know?
Not a word.
Cass, did you know that only 3,040 copies were released of
All Night Nippon? Well, I know now.
Yeah.
I have the story from
in
the
America,
manual
though,
here.
it was called.
Go to hell. So the story from the manual about this game, about this weird little tie-in, is as such. One day, the peaceful all-night Nippon dreamland, Viva Kingdom, where mushrooms live, was invaded by the tribe of the huge turtle Koopa, who possesses a powerful magic. Said magical power is used to transform all the quiet mushroom people into rocks, bricks, and mics, among other forms. All-night Nippon personalities Miyuki Nakajima, the Tunnels, Kyoko Koizumi, Beat Takeshi, and the AB brothers were also captured. What became of Sun Plaza Nakano? Pitiable Sun Plaza was fooled by Koopa's letter to his illusionary business prosperity corner into visiting him, and he was changed into the Koopa tribe minion Okapi. The only one who can undo his magic, this magic on the mushrooms and revive All Night Nippon, is the Viva Kingdom's own Princess Peach, but she is presently in the hands of King Koopa. Mario has stood up to help the personalities trapped in each world, defeat the Koopa tribe, rescue Princess Peach, and rebuild the peaceful all-night Nippon dreamland Viva Kingdom. The Mario in the TV is an avid all-night Nippon listener like you. Only you can bring this adventure to a conclusion. So, as you can see here on this screen, Beat Takeshi, for his part in the game, is one of the toads that you rescue, where all the toads are replaced with personalities from the All Night Nippon program. Takeshi appears as the toad at the end of World 5-4, and this marks his video game debut. An auspicious one at that. But this is obviously not the big game. He obviously did not have much say over this product. But there is testimony that he was playing games at this time, that he was interested in games, specifically Famicom Detective Club, if I recall correctly. I think we get into that a little bit later. I think I have that in the notes, but it's to show that Takeshi was privy to these things, that he kept a finger on the pulse. And so as video games were emerging, rather than just poo-pooing them and being, you know, an old head, he was interested. And his army was also interested. More on them later. So, this is where we get into the development of the game, of Takeshi no Chōsenjō. We're going to be liberally cribbing from a couple of interviews conducted by 4Gamer as part of their video game storytellers series. Pictured on screen here is Sakae Nakamura, who is credited as the creator of Takeshi's Challenge and the Daizemon video game. The name of this article from 4Gamer is The Unconventional Adventures of Sakae Nakamura. During his time as a section chief at Taito, which is where he was employed, it was he who made the push for the company to enter an arrangement with Nintendo to develop and publish games for their family computer, which had moved Taito away from what their initial focus was going to be, the MSX. For this move, they published 5 games in 1985 on the Famicom, and they suddenly launched a new business with sales of over 3 billion yen. And you can credit Takeo, you can credit Nakamura for that, Sake Nakamura. And this is a quote from the article as well. In fact, the section chief who achieved great success in the Famicom business was promoted to department manager and executive and became a managing director 2 or 3 years later. It's rare to see a staff member who had been left out in the cold become a managing director after just 2 or 3 years, referring to he had a somewhat tumultuous time at Taito up to that point. It was the fact that he made strong suggestion that we should be publishing for the Famicom that really earned him his place. But he seems to be a very genuinely creative guy who had worked at one of the game centers for a while and had brought that business to heel, brought it to great success. So his input on this and his role in the story is pretty valuable. That being said, he, at the time of the game, was really only in sales. He was the head of the sales department. So he was not a developer on the game per se, but he does have a lot of first-hand testimony to working with Takeshi. And for the part of Nakamura, Charky, would you mind to read some of these quotations here?
Okay. One day, Jun Fujimoto, the president of Seta, came to me and handed me a proposal for a game in which Beat Takeshi would take over a TV station. I think it was just a rough outline of the content with no particular genre. Taito had a connection with members of the Takeshi Gundan in the TV commercial for the Famicom game Kage no Densetsu, which is Legend of Kage, which was also released on April 18, 1986. So we decided to approach Takeshi's people. The offer was made to go on.
I just wanted to say really briefly that the Takeshi Gundan was Takeshi's personal army, were his most devout and ardent followers who basically did anything he told them to do. He would mobilize at his beck and call, and were also his personal friends and posse. So they show up in this commercial for Legend of Kage in Japan. He basically said hey, you guys, I got a gig for you, and basically got some of his guys lined up for commercial work in that capacity. So please continue.
All right. The offer was made to Takeshi, and he responded surprisingly well, so a meeting was held with him in attendance. The meeting took place at Kitanoya, an izakaya, or Japanese style of pub bar, that Takeshi used to run in Yotsuya. Participants included Nakamura, and the aforementioned section chief from Taito, Fujimoto, and one developer from Seta, several people from related companies such as Takeshi's agency, Otopro, Beat Takeshi himself, and TV writer Fumio Takada.
So this is just saying that this is the initial meeting, basically. This is the inciting incident, is this meeting at this bar that was owned in part by Takeshi. We mentioned a Fujimoto in there. That brings us to our next character here, and to our next interview we'll be liberally cribbing from. This is for gamers, the new world that Hiroshi Fukutsu, the man who created Takeshi's Challenge, has been pursuing. His work with Takeshi in the elusive sequel. Because yes, there was a planned sequel to Takeshi's Challenge. We'll get to that. But yes, Hiroshi here was a developer at Seta or Nova, depending on which interview you read. Nakamura keeps referring to the company that developed the game as Seta. Fukutsu, for his part, refers to the company as Nova. I don't know if these companies are just completely interchangeable. I don't know if they're the same company or different departments of a company, or if one's the parent company and one is the actual studio name. So for all intents and purposes, and from what I can gather, Seta and Nova are interchangeable in this story. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm sure there's a GDRI article that clears all this up, but we can't get into it for now. Fukutsu, for his part, he worked briefly for a game development studio by the name of ARC, which was a subsidiary of Koei, not yet Koei Tecmo. The company was eventually dissolved, that being ARC. And Fukutsu and 3 other people, including one former ARC employee, founded a new game development company known as Nova Corporation. And now these excerpts come from the interview, the 4Gamer interview with Fukutsu. And Johnny, if you would not mind reading for the part of Fukutsu.
Quote, because I was working on historical simulations, Nova was contracted to develop Famicom software such as Namco's Dokuganyu Masamune and Hot B's Takeda Shinjin. I was in charge of planning, and the other members were in charge of programming and other parts.
Brief interjection, that Hot B is in fact the same Hot B that would go on to develop Hoshiwo Mirihito, Stargazers. So 1 degree of separation away from another one of the most infamous Famicom kusogē of all time. Pleased to watch our video on that game. Please continue.
During my time at Nova, I heard from Fujimoto that Taito wanted to make a game using Beat Takeshi, so I was eager to take on the project. The first game I proposed was a side-scrolling shooter game in which Takeshi plays Take-chan-man, a superhero character from Takeshi's comedy routines, who makes aliens laugh with his gag ray. It was a simple plan, so to speak. At the time, Oretachi Hyo Kinki Zoku, Fuji Television's 80s popular comedy and variety show, hosted by Beat Takeshi, was popular. So I wanted to use the image of that popular character, end quote. In an early interview, Nakamura said the plan that Seda brought to Taito was, quote, a game in which Beat Takeshi takes over a TV station, end quote. Regarding this, Fukutsu said, I've heard about it, but I've never been shown any specific documents, suggesting that it was a stage before Fukutsu himself was involved. Nakamura said that he was impressed by the way Takeshi was not convinced by the content of the presentation and began to talk about his own ideas in a furious manner, and Fukutsu seemed to agree. Quote, Takeshi started by saying, I want to make something different, and the conversation developed in an unexpected direction. Takeshi himself played games, so he must have had something he wanted to make in mind. So I got turned on, and, well, that's what it says.
Yeah.
So I got turned on and listened to him talk until the morning at Kitanoya. Broadcast writer Fumio Takeda and the Takeshi army were there also. So it got more and more exciting. However, the image was that the rest of the people were just adding to the ideas that Takeshi came up with. I also joined in with a bad boy attitude, saying, if that's the case, this might be interesting, end quote. Nakamura and other Taito employees who were present did not say anything about the game content. Quote, I think everyone at Taito was thinking, this is getting serious. This may have been bitter about me for encouraging Takeshi. He laughs. And I was about 25 years old at the time, so I just wanted to do something interesting.
So
if I
basically,
can interject
yes, please.
briefly, because there is something that I hear talked about a lot when people talk about Takeshi's Challenge, particularly in the West when people are doing their own retrospectives on it. A lot of people will end up saying "Oh, Takeshi hated video games, so he made this game, as a fuck you to gamers and that kind of stuff." And people never say Takeshi liked video games and was excited about this project.
Yeah, I think that's in the same way that the story of the game is that he mumbled it at a bar while drunk. I think part of that is on Takeshi himself. I think he's trying to maintain an image, as it were. I think that is part of the marketing, in a sense, for him to go on the news and say, oh, I hate video games, and then not only develop this game with, all his own ideas in mind, but then to later show up in Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, as one of the primary cast of that game. So clearly what he says and what he means are two different things.
Yeah, I think it's just that a lot of people, when they make these retrospectives, took that bit seriously. They maybe unintentionally kept up the kayfabe.
Yes, I would certainly say so. I'm going to read through some of these next bits just because this is an interesting section in and of itself. I should mention that the Nakamura interview precedes the Fukutsu interview. So this is an excerpt from the Nakamura interview. According to the book Super kusogē, which is a series of books in Japan that document the development stories behind some of the most infamous kusogē, the developer representing Seta was Hiroshi Fukutsu. But Nakamura says he cannot remember that name. He also says he has no memory of Ichiro Morinaga, who is listed as a programmer on the Wikipedia page for Takeshi's challenge. This is probably because Nakamura was primarily a salesperson and did not have much direct contact with the development site. The only member of the Takeshi's challenge development staff that Nakamura remembers, they only remember by their last name, Miyanari. So Fukutsu, for his part, in the later interview, clears this detail up and gives a programmer their due credit. It is said that programmer Ichiro Morinaga played a major role in the development. Fukutsu on this says, Mr. Morinaga was a student at the University of Electrocommunications at the time. He later joined Sony and was already a very talented engineer. It was thanks to Mr. Morinaga that Takeshi's challenge was completed. Mr. Morinaga was also involved in the development of the pet robot Aibo at Sony. Echiro Morinaga is known as the father of the Robo 1 tournament. And is a pioneer in robotics in general. This is a page from his website, which has not been updated since 2010, but looks like it hasn't been updated since the year 2000. He is basically like, BattleBots? Yeah, that's basically what he was doing in Japan. I think it was probably the inspiration for BattleBots at a certain point. He was a genius when it came to designing miniature robots that could do all sorts of stunts and actions, and that eventually led to him, working at Aibo, but he also has made, proper battle bots that would just destroy each other in the ring. This is a link to his website, by the way. Specifically, this is a link to his portfolio page on the website, where he himself takes credit and gives his own very brief story on the subject of working for Takeshi no Chōsenjō. To quote Morinaga, I am the main programmer of this game. Beat Takeshi and I butted heads many times on the top floor of a famous hotel in Shinjuku while creating it. His ideas, written in a college notebook full of them, were very impressive. I learned a lot from his attitude of not listening to the advice that the game balance would be destroyed if it was made too difficult, and simply pursuing his own world. This game had a big impact on my way of thinking and living. So clearly he was a man personally touched, personally affected by his time working on this game before he shifted more into robotics. So it's just good that he gets acknowledged here, even if Nakamura doesn't remember his name and discredits the fact he was even involved with the game. At least Fukutsu remembers, and this is why I'm more keen to take Fukutsu's retelling of the story at its face, and maybe Nakamura's memory is a little more hazy. Maybe he does a little bit of embellishment and trying to drives the focus towards himself when he is interviewed. But on that subject, let's return to Nakamura. Let's look at this GIF of one of the commercials for Takeshi's challenge on the Famicom. While Charky, you would not mind taking it away?
Okay. According to Kiddo Color Dido's blog, Takeshi had a desire to make a game himself even before he received an offer from Taito. Takeshi became interested when he heard that Takeshi Gundan's great Gidayu was crazy about the Famicom, and he played Portopia Serial Murder Case himself. In fact, he only played Portopia Serial Murder Case for about a week and didn't finish it. He would write ideas in his notebook, saying things like, what about this? And it would be interesting if it was done like this. And would ask, I wonder if someone could make it. To quote Nakamura, we had another meeting at Kitanoya, and Takeshi came up with a ton of ideas. It was completely outrageous, like making a batting center named after a man who killed his parents with a metal bat. But we stopped ourselves from doing that. Also, this is a well-known story, but the karaoke function using the microphone on the Famicom 2 controller was also Takeshi's idea. The Famicom cannot distinguish between high and low sounds. It can only determine whether sound is coming from the microphone or not. Takeshi knew this, and yet he wanted to make the character sing. So it doesn't matter how good you are at singing, as long as you can make a sound like, woo, or whatever, end quote. In this way, Takeshi would come up with various ideas, which said his developers would take home to make samples, and then hold meetings again, and so on until the game was compiled. Nakamura was not a member of the development team, but was merely a salesperson for the publisher, and although he attended meetings, he rarely had any say in the game's content. This was the same for other titles besides Takeshi's challenge. The main meetings after that were held in a semi-suite room at the Hilton Tokyo in Shinjuku. This room had been contracted for 6 months for when Fujimoto was too busy to return home. However, as mentioned previously, Takeshi was extremely busy at the time, and as is well known, had a habit of taking days off, which often left Nakamura confused. Quote, when I went to the Hilton to buy some alcohol that I heard Takeshi liked, his attendant would tell me, Takeshi isn't coming today. Or when we arranged to meet with the president and managing director of Taito, he didn't show up. End quote.
Yeah, so for all Takeshi's enthusiasm for the game, which seems genuine, he was also notoriously fickle and would lose interest in things and would just be unavailable on certain days. But that ultimately didn't stop the team from developing the game to his specification, as we'll get into. It's not to say that he was absent during development or that, he was not involved at every step of the process. That seems to be the implication, that he really was there from beginning to end, and outside of a few days off, he had hands-on during the entire development process, even if that was just from his hotel room, as people met with him and got his ideas and jotted them down, then showed him samples of how the game was coming along. So it's a weird way to develop a game, to be sure, but hey, it was 1986. We didn't have a blueprint for celebrity-centric games by this point. And it was just amazing that a celebrity had any interest at all in this weird genre and this weird medium coming out of Japan. So we move on. This is Kitano on the set of some movie directing something or other. And we return to snippets from the Fukutsu interview. Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Quote, Takeshi wasn't like, this is good, that's good, and more like, this is what I want to do. So, as a subtitle of Takeshi's challenge symbolizes the story of the main character, a salaryman, punching his boss, quitting his job, and going to a southern island, was in the story from the beginning. It was also consistent that Takeshi himself did not appear in the games. I later realized that even back then, he was thinking like a film director, or rather, he was thinking about cinematic storytelling. The game system of Takeshi's Challenge involved the protagonist freely roaming a town, lined with various shops, talking to the residents, and occasionally defeating Yakuza, who attack him with action. Some say that the way the player enters shops in the town and enjoys mini-games such as pachinko and karaoke was even more advanced than Shenmue, which is considered the originator of open world games. That was a point I was going to make, and they beat me to it.
Yeah.
So, it is very interesting to see how the system was planned and developed, but Takeshi first gave a fragmented view of what would happen and what would happen there. Quote, for example, I wanted to make it so if you sing well at the karaoke parlor, you would get a hint, or you could actually play pachinko at the pachinko parlor. If you made that into a normal game, it would end up being a collection of minigames. But Takeshi wanted to tell a story, so the main character needed to have a home, a wife, and kids. That's why I thought that I needed to create a town in order to make it take shape. End quote. Even the single task of defeating the Yakuza could be interpreted in many different ways. Quote, if you think about it normally, it would be like an adventure game, where you have to choose between hit or run away. But from what Takeshi said, I understood that he was thinking of something like an action game. So I decided to make it an action game. At the same time, I made it so that options would appear where you enter your home or a store. End quote. However, Takeshi's challenge did not end up as Mr. Fukutsu had hoped. It was not developed by adopting what seemed to be the best option from various options, but in reality, he chose the way that he thought was the only way to realize what Mr. Takeshi wanted to do. This tendency became stronger as development progressed. Quote, there was no connection between the ideas that Takeshi came up with, so I was trying to fill in the gaps, but then I ran out of memory. Usually, there are some hints hidden somewhere in the game when solving puzzles, but if I put them in, Takeshi's request wouldn't be included. So I made the unilateral decision that if I had to keep one, it's the one Takeshi said. Laughs. I had no choice but to push through with the idea that this is the game that Takeshi thought up. In this way, everything other than Takeshi's ideas was cut out, and the result was Takeshi's challenge. End quote.
So this should shine a little bit more light on why some of the game feels so disconnected. Is because it was disconnected, because Takeshi, for as enthusiastic as he was about the project, was not a game developer. He did not approach it in a conventional way. I see K4 Boom in the chat saying, so we took away the lore for funny. That's not what they said. What they said was that he ran out of memory, because at this point in 1986, the capacity of NES cartridges, the Famicom cartridge, was only so much. You can only cram so much into them. For what this game is, it crams a lot in, like a lot, like more than you would reasonably expect for the hardware. It is ridiculous what is present.
Even if you consider the fact that text can take up a lot of room on an old NES card, there's a lot of text in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, what the decision that Fukutsu would have to make in a moment where he has to cut content is, well, we could have these conventional game design things, that hints that take you from one place to another, a more linear structure, so on and so forth, or I could make room for more of Takeshi's ideas. And in that mental battle, in that debate in his head, he would always give it to Takeshi. He recognized his role was to bring Takeshi's vision to life in this game, so he prioritized. So, yes, there's absolutely stuff cut from this game, stuff that would otherwise be essential, like hints on how to complete the game, but ultimately that wasn't what Takeshi was interested in. The impression that I get from like how disconnected Takeshi's ideas were was that he didn't really want to make an A to B game in the first place. He wanted to make a game that was just, here's a bunch of fun stuff you can do, and here's excuses for gags. And so, if that was his priority, then naturally the development had to prioritize that as well. That's my read on it anyway. And speaking of reading, we continue with more excerpts from the Fukutsu interview.
Mm-hmm. Nintendo also checked Takeshi's challenge before its release, but they didn't have any say in the content. Quote, I think Taito explained to Nintendo that this game was entirely fooled up by Takeshi. There was one thing that Nintendo pointed out to us, which was that the microphone on the second controller could be used in some cases, but due to differences in the lot of the Famicom console, it was sometimes impossible to complete the game even if you perform the correct action. In the end, we made it so it could be completed by saying, ah, and we were able to get away with it. End quote. Fukutsu had no choice but to cut out parts that he thought were necessary.
And switching over to the Nakamura interview.
The game was scheduled to be released on December 10th, 1986. Nakamura says he doesn't remember the exact development period, but since Kage no Densetsu was first connected to him, Which first connected him to the Takeshi Gundan, which was released in April 1986. It was probably between 6 months and 10 months. Once the software was completed, Nakamura went to the radio station where Takeshi had his late night show and handed him the software in person. Quote, he remembered my name and said, if there's anyone else who wants to work, I'll introduce you to them. He also invited me to go drinking after the show, but I'd been drinking all night until the morning of that day, so I asked him to leave. If I had gone drinking then, I might have joined Takeshi Gundan. End quote.
So this is what he's getting here, is that Takeshi was genuinely appreciative, was genuinely kind of honored that this game had been built around him, and basically made the promise to Nakamura that, like, hey, dude, if you know any other celebrities you want to work with, I'll put you in touch. I will make connections happen for you. And he was probably eyeing at this guy to have him recruited to his personal army, which, if you were in, it was a Rough Riders. It was known as a criminal gang for a moment in time in Japan, but it also meant that you were connected directly to Takeshi, which is very valuable if the single most popular human being in Japan. That's probably a good connect to have, a good bit of networking. So that release date, December 10th, 1986, is going to be very important. We see it on this magazine ad flyer here. Let's find out what happens the day before the game's release. If you would not mind continuing, Sharky, from the 4Gamer interview with Nakamura.
Yes. All that was left was to wait for the release, but on the night of December 9th, 1986, the day before the release, a major incident occurred. Takeshi led his gang members into the editorial office of Kodansha's photo weekly magazine Friday, resulting in injuries to editorial staff members. This was the so-called Friday attack incident. It was an action to protest against the magazine's aggressive coverage. But the assault incident, which involved a celebrity at the height of his popularity and his disciple, shocked the world. Now, do you want to go into a little bit more about the Friday incident at all?
Yeah, so what happened here was Takeshi took personal issue with this magazine by the name of Friday, which was a major gossip rag. This would be like storming the offices of TMZ. For example, he took his army, which was dozens in numbers, if not hundreds. They stormed the offices. They started beating up the staff. Takeshi at some point threatened to kill certain members of the Friday staff. He was really pissed at these guys. And, to his credit, these guys were really sensationalist, really were kind of like publishing scumbag stories, were outing people unnecessarily, they were paparazzi of the time and every negative connotation that paparazzi has with it. So he organized his army, and on that December 9th, I don't know if it landed on a Friday necessarily, which would have been apropos if so, but Video Game King says the headline on the right says that 11 people were involved in the incident. Probably a conservative estimate because his army was a little more numerous than that. I know there's a section, there is like a Japanese Wikipedia article for this because it was a major scandal, a major incident that did have ramifications on Takeshi's career. He recovered from it just fine, mind you. But so they talk about people who weren't able to show up, like people that were invited to come but just had other obligations, I guess. But anyway,
yeah, I want to assault a magazine, but yeah, my kids going to soccer. Practice.
Yeah, there's some other things going on. But this is just to show,
beat them up twice as hard for me, all right?
Yeah, this is just to show that when we talk about Takeshi having a personal army, running a gang, it is barely an exaggeration. So please continue.
Nowadays, when celebrities get into scandals, the release of their works is often cancelled or postponed, but Takeshi's Challenge was released as scheduled on the following day, December 10th, while the news was dominated by the Friday attack incident. Nakamura also did not take any action in response to the incident. By that time, I didn't really want to go to work, he said, and since he was on vacation on December 10th, he doesn't know what the reaction was within Taito on the day of release. Quote, I think they were like, it's okay to be a hot topic. The incident didn't result in more sales than expected, but it didn't have a negative effect either, end quote. After the incident, Takeshi took a break from show business for half a year. The most popular man in Japan suddenly disappeared from the media, but Takeshi's Challenge projected the world of Beat Takeshi on the TV without Takeshi, and players were swept up into it. Quote again, when I imagined the scene at the time, I even think that all of that was Takeshi's plan. In a sense, it was an unprecedented release.
So what they're mentioning here is that the show Takeshi's Challenge, the Takeshi's Castle show, continued to run, and they just had different hosts on. They had a person in a Takeshi costume with a comically oversized head.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. I remember that, yeah.
And in addition to that, the commercials were airing on repeat on TV. So even though Takeshi was not making appearances at this point, was not doing his regular slots or his regular programs, you were still being inundated with commercials for the Famicom game, which featured him prominently in them. So there was still, like, this was the only glimpse people were getting at Takeshi during this time. So people felt like, well, I have to play the game now to see what the hell this is all about. And, as far as the claim that this was part of Takeshi's plan, that he did it as sort of a promotional stunt for the game, that's maybe a little dicey. Not entirely sure about that, but I wouldn't put it past him.
I can see him saying that as a joke, though, the Nakamura.
Yes, potentially.
Like, this was probably part of his plan all along.
But let's see how that factored into the sales. They mentioned that it didn't boost or decline sales. That's also speculative. But let's figure out what the sales numbers are. They are reported on in the next piece of the interview with Nakamura.
All right. Nakamura says, I think Takeshi's Challenge sold 700,000 to 800,000 copies. For Taito, it was a big deal that a completely new IP, Famicom software, became a hit. Also, after that, Sama no Metanate. You want to pronounce that one for me?
Meitante. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's basically Great Detective Sanma.
Yeah, Meitante.
Right. Which was starring comedian Sanma Akashiya, and others came out. So I think it was the beginning of those kinds of talent-centric games.
Basically what he's saying there is that because this game came so hot on the heels, I think it was like an 87 release, but was clearly like, well, they saw the success of Takeshi's Challenge. Let's see if we can cram more comedians in the games. You can see a few more of those, by the way, in our comedian games video from a while back, cutting back to the interview with Fukutsu.
Mm-hmm. And, as expected, many buyers complained to Taito and other related parties that they didn't know how to complete the game. As a result, talk arose of publishing a strategy guidebook from Ota Publishing and publishing division of Ota Productions, where Takeshi was affiliated at the time. The book that was published was Takeshi's Direct Instructions, Takeshi's Challenge Cheat Sheet, and it was written by Fukutsu. Quote, I wrote the text as atonement. I had deleted the hints from the game, so I thought that without this, the mystery could not be solved. However, perhaps because I had made it too vague, it was difficult to understand, and I ended up having to publish a second book.
So, quick interjection. There's much rumor, there's much saying that popular story is that the original strategy guide as published gave wrong information outright. I wish I could confirm this. These strategy guides have not been scanned as far as I'm aware. I would love to compare and contrast the two editions of it. But ultimately, like, the first guidebook did not give you at least like all the hints you would need to complete the game. So that second book had to come out because they got so many death threats. Because they got so much hate mail for the initial strategy guide. They're like, okay, take 2 on this one. So if this should be the last of the Nakamura interview segment. So Charky, if you would not mind.
All right. If you would not mind moving your cursor on the screen. Thank you. And now, Takeshi's Challenge enjoys a rare existence as a lovable crap game, and is also evaluated as a masterpiece that came too early. You can't make a game like this with intentionality. Quote, we all just wanted to somehow connect the ideas that Takashi-san was coming up with, ideas that we had never heard of before, and put them into a form. We were all just thinking about that, without really thinking about whether we could make it happen or how it would work as a game. So, of course, it turned out to be a crappy game.
So basically what the admittance here is that, yeah, for as ambitious as the game is, I think people involved in its development were disappointed in the end product, even knowing its reputation as a lovable crap game, which is probably how Google Translate chose to translate the term kusogē. Obviously the kusogē label has... which has been misused and abused in the modern internet. But what it really is meant to mean is shit games that are endearing out of Japan. And, for as much as this game's reputation is tied up in how bad it is, there's also the admittance from people that, well, yeah, it's shit, but it's great, isn't it? And the line about you can't make a game like this with intentionality, I think what they're meaning to say there, I think what the way it's translated here, I think what they mean to say is that you can't set out to design a game like Takeshi's Challenge like to be what it is, right? It has to be by happenstance. It has to be almost by accident that you land on a game like that, on a final product like that. If you set out to make a bad game, you're going to make like a boring bad game or something that is not up to par. That's not going to be loved by people. But if you set out to make a good game or set out with like ambition in mind to bring this celebrity's idea to life, to give it form, and it ends up being what it is, that's how you make a truly endearing bad game, which I would obviously, as the queen of bad games, agree with that assessment. You go out to make a Hong Kong 97, you make something distasteful, you make something that's very forgettable, if not for the story around it and the circumstances around it. But ultimately, not a game that anyone actually wants to play for an extended length of time. But Takeshi's Challenge is unique in the fact that it really was one of those games built with the best of intentions that just so happened to drop a few elements along the way that lead to it being this notoriously shitty game, but still one that people find some amount of resonance with, find some sort of connection to, that they take an interest in. So, by the way, 700,000, 800,000 copies in Japan, that is huge. That is Dragon Quest numbers. Mm-hmm. That is one of the most successful games on the Famicom. This was massive at a time because his impact on culture, because Takeshi was so huge, this game basically had no choice but to be a huge seller. And such a seller it was that there were, in fact, fans of it. Fans who, throughout the decades, throughout the years, remembered it and may have wanted to get a sequel off the ground. We return now to Fukutsu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a quick bit. I'm going to read this bit, how I felt when I pre-read it. So, all right. Although Takeshi's Challenge became a work that would be talked about for many years to come, Fukutsu had many things left undone, but in fact, there was a chance to make up for it. Microsoft offered me a job to release Takeshi's Challenge 2 as a launch software for the original Xbox in Japan? The person in charge of Xbox was a big fan of Takeshi's challenge. So I took the story to Takeshi's office, and Takeshi said he would listen to it personally. So we had several meetings, including with Taito, and we decided to do it. End quote. Fukutsu was enthusiastic about Takeshi's challenge too, but unfortunately, there was a major change in the company's internal circumstances at Taito, and all projects that were in the works at the time were put on hold for the time being. Takeshi Challenge 2 was no exception. Quote, "It's a really sad story. Takeshi was very enthusiastic, and Microsoft even offered to cover the development costs, but Taito wouldn't budge. So in the end, they only issued the license, and Hudson was in charge of development. But because they had to start over, Takeshi started saying he wasn't going to do it, and the project eventually fell apart. If it had come to fruition, it would have become a hot topic in a good way, as there would have been fewer hardware constraints." End quote. What kind of game was Takeshi Challenge 2 supposed to be? Quote, "I only spoke with Takeshi about..." Oh,
Twice.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, "I only spoke with Takeshi about Takeshi's Challenge 2 about twice. And again he said, there's something I want to do. And it seemed he had a clear shape in mind. The final part, where the treasure is found, is the same as the first game, but he said, you just have to run. You run through the city. I want to make a game where you use all your abilities to run away. It's a cinematic idea. Want to make a game where... No, sorry. Okay. It starts with a scene where you're being chased, and you don't even know what you're being chased by, but gradually you start to understand. And that's how he explained it to me." End quote. Just like with Takeshi's challenge, Takeshi apparently came up with a variety of ideas. Quote, "Takeshi likes mathematics, so he came up with ideas for puzzles that can be solved by using mathematical thinking, such as using trigonometric functions to determine the angle at which sunlight enters. He also thought a lot about the humorous parts and wanted to include a scene where someone is hiding in a garbage dump, and the garbage truck comes and takes the garbage bag away, leaving them with no place to hide. There was also an idea to use the disguise as one way to escape, with the story changing depending on the atmosphere. I thought it would be difficult to make, but at the same time, I thought it might be possible with the new platform Xbox, so I was very disappointed when the plan fell through."
Yeah, as am I, hearing that for the first
Yeah.
time. How fucking wild, how awesome would that
Yeah.
game have been? Oh man, the things that could have been. Obviously, this probably didn't make it past pre-planning. Obviously, I
Mhm.
don't think there was much in the way of actual development done on it, according to the timeline there. And at a certain point, Taito became really risk averse. An example of that is Spy Game's elevator mission for the Wii, which was originally intended to be an elevator action game on the Wii, but Taito just could not commit to things in a period of time between the mid to early 2000s to the mid 2010s, and so they let a lot of ideas slip through. Uh, Unfortunate in this case, but that's game dev, isn't it? Uh, so I'm gonna briefly go through these next few sections just to talk a little bit about some other Takeshi's Challenge related ephemera, including these two games, these other two NES games, starring Takeshi but not designed by Beat Takeshi. On the left, we have Family Trainer Totsugeki, Fuen Takeshoujo, or Takeshijo, which is a 1987 release by Bandai. This is a game that I think attempts to emulate the experience of being a contestant on Takeshi's Castle. It uses the power pad. I have not played it. And on the right here is Takeshi no Songeku Funji, which is a 1988 release, again by Taito. They got the rights back, and I think this one's like a strategy board game type thing. I think we played 2 minutes of this on the Comedian Game stream, where I thought it was translated, but it is not yet translated, so I couldn't make it particularly far in that one. Interesting cover, though, to be sure. And of course, we know from because I mentioned earlier, and because people in the chat I assume love the Yakuza series, that of course Takeshi Kitano appears in Yakuza 6: The Song of Life in the year 2016, playing the role of the patriarch of the Hirose family, Toru Hirose, a subsidiary of the Yomi Alliance's Mazuzoi family. I don't know, that's all Greek to me.
Yeah.
I've only played Yakuza 0 and a bit of Yakuza 1.
I'll say if having played it, yeah, he's great in it.
Not
And
surprised.
And without spoiling too much, he definitely plays on both sides of his career in that role, both his like comedy and serious stuff. It's very interesting.
Very good. Next slide here. Disregard this for a minute. First, I got to mention the virtual console release of Takeshi's Challenge, which released March 2009 on the Nintendo Wii's Japanese Virtual Console Shop, Wii Shop channel. Didn't make it to the States, believe it or not. And then, people were saying that the Xbox game sounded fake. Well, on April 1st, 2017, Taito announced, and this is a page that has since been taken offline but is still on archive.org, so please check out this page, announcing Takeshi's Challenge VR Edition, as well as an extended a premium package VIP Reality. So they stated their intention to release a VR version of Takeshi's Challenge, where you would play through 3D CG scenes. If you go to the website, they have all these mock-up photos of here's what it looks like in the NES game, and here's what it's going to look like in VR, and then here's what it's going to look like if you elect for the VIP Reality package. We'll actually fly you out and we'll treat you. You'll have a spa day here, and you'll experience all these things for yourself as if you were the character in Takeshi's Challenge. It's a cute, kind of funny idea. I don't usually go for the fake announcements on April Fool's Day, but this is so obviously like they had no intention of pulling the wool over anyone's eyes with this thing. You take one look at this and you know it's bullshit, and then you scroll to the bottom of the page and you get the actual announcement being made, the real announcement that there would be a Android iOS conversion of Takeshi's Challenge, of the original Takeshi no Chōsenjō, as part of Taito's Taito Classics line. That releases on August 14th, 2017. I'm going to press this next slide, and I need everyone to promise me you're not going to freak out about it in chat. You're not going to jump to conclusions. Okay? Verbal contract.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Donald Trump. So in addition to being a conversion to Android and iOS, there's actually new content in this version of the game. Notably, in addition to the flights you can take to different regions in the original game, they add you can actually make the trip to America, where you can do all sorts of American things, including eating burgers, playing poker, visiting the Mexican border wall, and climbing up 73 floors of Trump Tower, and you have to go through all fucking 73 of them to meet Donald Trump. And when you talk to him, if you say that you are a fan or a friend of his or something to that effect, you basically have a dialogue prompt that's like, are you a friend or enemy? If you say friend, for a period of time, you will inherit his hairdo and face. That effect is removed as soon as you leave America, so you can't play through the game as you can't finish the game as Trump. There's also a interesting note that if you go to the Mexican border wall, there's basically a hard wall that you cannot pass through, but a tower guard, if you interact with them, says, well, if we sell 800,000 copies, we can develop this area of the game, obviously referencing the fact that the original game sold around 800,000 copies, which is a cute little touch in a not-so-cute little play on very real-life border wall. There's also DLC for this game. If you pay 100 yen, you unlock a hard mode DLC with a new ending where you're told you did a really amazing job, and then if you wait 5 minutes, it says, I can't believe you actually went as far as to clear hard mode. So it's basically just they added 1 or 2 lines of text to the game's original ending, which we'll see tonight. Don't forget, we're actually going to play a game tonight after this whole hour-long history section.
Also, the in terms of gameplay, all hard mode does is double damage taken and the amount of health that enemies have.
Yes, so it really is just like a pain in the ass. It really is just made to be an inconvenience to you as a player.
But if you have an extra 100 yen, you can buy invincibility.
That is true.
Well.
And I own this game, by the way. I could have theoretically loaded it up in BlueStacks and broadcast it here. I did legitimately meet Trump in my playthrough of the fucking game, and I punched his fucking lights out. To comment on this and why I urged people to recuse themselves, to hold back. Like, yes, it is the president's room is what the text at the top of the page says, so acknowledging this president. It's not an endorsement of Trump. I think it's just like, well, you're in America. Meet the president, why don't you? And do whatever you want. Like, you can beat up any NPC in this game. You can be friendly or aggressive to anyone in the game. So it is ultimately up to you to deal with him how you want to deal with him.
You could say you are a friend of his to get the thing, and then punch him out.
Yeah, you absolutely can. You are absolutely able to do that. So anyway, don't take it as them being like Trump, Trump, Trump. It's just like to them, it was just gag. It was just topical humor that they inserted into the game. So I don't really hold it against them necessarily that they included this. And obviously they didn't know the full extent of the harm and havoc he would wreak and so on and so forth. But we'll move on from that and finally, finally get to the game. One last note that we'll be playing a translated version of this game, as none of us are particularly literate in Japanese. I don't know if you gathered that from all of our collective pronunciations of certain names and places and ideas in the previous hour, but the translation we'll be playing is the 2011 King Mike translation. It says that it was last updated in 2020. I don't think it was actually updated. I think like romhacking.net, the page that hosts it, maybe they tweaked something or in the description of it, but I think this translation has remained mostly intact and has been the most prevalent high profile translation since 2011. Whew. There we go. That is a brief history of Takeshi no Chōsenjō and some of the development behind it. That is what I believe to be the full story. There may be some other incidental details or voices yet unheard, but I think between Fukutsu and Nakamura, they have a pretty good, they have most of the angles covered that you'd want to hear in this story, which means that there's nothing left but to play the damn thing.
We talked for more than an hour about it, and we haven't even gotten to the actual game yet. Take that, Connor, sir.
Goddamn right.
Your video was great.
It was great.
Yeah. No, very good video. Especially watch if you want to see all that stuff about the mobile version from 2017.
Yes. Watch us first, and then...
So here we are on the title screen. Should be noted that if you punch 30,800 something times on this title screen, you're warped directly to the ending. So buckle in, folks. We're just going to sit here for the foreseeable. No, we're not going to do that.
How long does that take again? Like 8 hours?
Something like that. There is password in this game. It was not originally all English characters. Obviously, it was hiragana in the original release. And Hello. Oh, I think I know one issue I'm having already with this. Let's make sure that the right controllers are in the right ports, why don't we? I'm going to be doing a thing here. We mentioned the Famicom having two controllers, and the second controller had a microphone built into it. So what we'll be doing here... Oh, that's good. That's right. We are correct in this one. So basically, to cheat using the microphone, if you do not actually want to be able to speak into the microphone, Famicom games would allow you to, like holding down and pressing the A button on your second controller, you would enable a mode where pressing the A button serves as a microphone input. So we'll be using that liberally during parts of the game where the microphone would otherwise be required. I don't remember how to actually... Oh, here we go. So we can enter a password here, or we can punch him.
Yeah, punch him.
Ah, murderer!
Yeah. Well, had a good run.
Thanks for joining us, folks. This game is very easy to game over in, by the way, as part of the gag. So, okay. Here's how we're going to approach actually playing this damn game. Obviously, I'm aware of the critical path, but we're going to play around for a bit at first. We're going to explore the world on offer, this world that bests Shenmue, that beats it to the punch and does it superiorly as well, and see if we can't gather some of the hints needed to complete the game. This is where it starts. Let me make sure that my microphone is working. There we go. So now if I press the R trigger, the R2 trigger on my controller, that is akin to pressing A on the second controller. So we're good. And Johnny or Charky, whichever one of you would not mind having the cutting room floor article on this game open, which documents the unique essential NPCs that we'll want to talk to over the course of the game. You just haven't been performing lately. That's why you only get a tiny bonus. Christ, man, get your act together. That's our boss. This is the company we work for. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. It's like he hired a parrot. Hello.
Yeah, I should be punching and doing jumping with those buttons, but for some reason, it is not doing that. This is a problem.
Johnny, you got that article?
Yeah.
And neither of you have anything plugged in right now, just to confirm?
Nope.
No, yeah, I specifically unplugged.
All right, thank you. I think I see what my problem here is. I need to undo these double binds I did for safety's sake. I wanted to make sure that there would be no misconstruing the inputs on this. So let's make this D-pad down.
I gotta say, I'm still reeling from that Xbox stuff. That
For some reason, like, the idea of Takeshi's challenge for Xbox just made me think of, like, Toe Jam and Earl on Xbox.
Well, we stuck our boss in the desk, so I think that's a pretty good start. Hopefully you won't take that personally. Actually, you know what?
Oh dear.
Let's go back in. What do you want? And we have options here. We can sign our resignation, take a sick day, take a vacation, punch your manager, or flatter him. Well, I feel a little bad about punching him, so let's...
Love you, boss.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
Fuck you, boss.
Now, unfortunately, to reset it to have the dialogue pop up again, you need to exit and enter rooms. Oh, you know what? I fucking quit. Really? Okay then, thanks for your service over the years. Here's a little something for you to please accept. And now we have a lot of money.
Hey, did you notice the boss is gone?
Yeah, that's because I pressed the select button to go to the inventory, which clears every enemy and every entity from the screen.
And you know what's fun? If you would ask for the bonus, didn't pick it up, and then press select and came back, your bonus is gone.
Oh, you mean like this? Like the secret money in the tree? Let's go to our inventory. Oh, there we go. So now we'd be down another bunch of money, so we're gonna liberally use rewind to test some of the stuff out in this game.
Oh, hey,
my secret savings.
I'm gonna say for this, well, do you know what I'm gonna say, Cass?
I have a hunch what you're gonna say, and yeah, go ahead.
You want me to say it, or you want me to not say it?
Go ahead and say it.
Alright, I'm gonna say, if you use a please don't rewind, I'm just gonna refund it. I think for this game, we really want to show off the stuff, and that if that involves rewinding, then we need to rewind.
And where's this NPC we're talking to? Fucking stop that. Let's talk to him again. What do you want? We're all family, bro. Be nice. Hello! Officer, there's a strange man here! Sorry, but could you please fill in this form? So it's electing for random pieces of dialogue here. I think there's like 8 random messages that generic NPCs will share with you. But we can also change our tone of voice from this menu. Now we're talking threateningly to people that we come across. Okay then, do you believe in God?
You know, that's a pretty common response if you talk to people in the South.
And here's some Yakuza thugs that we're gonna knock the lights out of. And every time you knock someone out in this game, you get 300 yen for it. So that is one of several ways to make money in this game. Let's go to the Culture Club. Let's take up some vocational courses, why don't we? Will you pick a course? We can learn some languages here. Which language? English, Spanish, Japanese, Hintabo, and Shantara are our options there.
Did you pick nothing, or?
I picked nothing. Luckily I can do this. This is a way to cheat certain things. There's not an NPC on the screen you need to interact with. You can still use the select trick to reset the state of the room and go back into the menu. Oh, I did not mean to press that particular button. I want to see what other courses we can take. Let's see what sports we can learn.
He blinks really hard, and that's a cue to the person behind the desk to, say, oh, he wants something else. Do we have a name for our character?
I think there's one NPC who addresses you by your surname. Otherwise, he's just known as the Salaryman.
Okay, I'll just call him Salaryman.
We can learn scuba diving, hang gliding, ballooning, windsurfing, baseball. Clearly, none of these are actually going to come in handy at the end of the game. Clearly, these are all just joke options.
Did you pick anything?
No, I'm just going through the options here. Music. Which instrument? We can learn piano, guitar, shakuhachi, shamisen, or drums.
No, I don't know what well, I can't even recall what it is now. the one in the middle. I don't even know what instrument that is.
We can learn different dances, social, breakdance, bamboo dance, jazz, bon odori. And then what's the last set of stuff we can learn? Different licenses. Which license? Driver, pilot, sailing, boating, parachuting. So here is the thing about all of these different options that are available. Many of them are red herrings. Many of them are completely useless. Not all of them are useless. Some of them are essential. Some of them will unlock some interesting Easter egg stuff. But ultimately, like, yes, there are legitimate and illegitimate courses you can take here. Let's continue our exploration, why don't we? Obviously can't go into every building. And not everything that you can enter is necessarily marked off either.
Something fun I learned from that connoisseur video is about the Yakuza here. That if you just duck, they lose interest in you eventually.
Talk to this lady. What? Who am I? Where am I?
Are you still in threatening mode?
I might be. Do not talk to me like that. I'm not your buddy. Do you know me, sir?
Who are you talking to here?
Anata no tame nara doko demo tushiete okuru watashi. So,
I think that's lyrics to one of the songs, isn't
yes,
it?
it is. It is
Yes.
actually lyrics to one of the songs you need to play to progress in the game if you want to go on that critical path. So this is one of the actually important NPCs, this lady in purple over here, who will give you some actually essential information. That is one of the hints you would use to actually complete the game properly. Yeah. Eek, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Fuck you, buddy. So we can just be a menace to society here. Speaking of...
It's the original GTA.
Hey, kid. Ow. Kid's punching me out. Well, nothing to it but to...
Oh, no, he's saying that out of pain because the kids punch him in the crotch. Oh, hello!
Alright, well, we dealt with that problem. May the world be peaceful.
Yeah. Maybe not so much.
And the direction we're heading here... Actually, I think one of these is... I think there's like a secret entrance here to the neighbor's house that is like not meant to be a secret entrance, but is in fact a secret entrance. If you're trying to get to the pawn shop, potentially. I don't remember exactly how to trigger that, though.
I know where one of the secret entrances is, but it's not right. It's
Not this one.
The one I know is not here.
Anyway, this is our home. That's our wife. That's our kid. Well, it's late, so go to bed.
I
Work hard. Bye-bye. She doesn't even know we quit our
resigned.
job. Yeah.
Work hard at dodging these fists.
So, that's one way to game over, is that your wife is just abusive towards you. As are your children. I hate to do this, but... And let's revive. So here's an essential trick for beating this game, is that if you are downed, press A and B 3 times, no more, no less, and you will revive on the spot. And
oh, really? If you do it more, that you don't revive?
if you do it like 4 times, it does not revive. And just so people don't think I'm like I just murdered my family here, if we go back into the house, there they are. They're fine. It's just
Well,
yeah, I know. It's and there is a in mandatory interaction we will have with the wife, a mandatory dialogue prompt that we can't actually prompt by talking to her just normally. We have to really upset her beyond what we just did there.
Clayote says, feels like a debug code they never bothered to remove. I can tell you right now that it's there on purpose.
Yeah, it is necessary. There's even an NPC who tells you how to do it.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to reveal that later, but yes, there is an NPC who gives you a hint about doing that.
So here's one of the side streets in town. Let's go to the barber shop, why don't we? Sit in this chair. What do you want? A dye, a haircut, or a perm? Let's get a haircut. It's looking a little long. 5,000 yen. Yeah, I think we got the money for that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I slipped and cut your face. Ow, that hurts. You actually take damage from that. And obviously it doesn't change your character at all. You can also get the perm and the hair color, but those also don't change your character at all in any meaningful way. It is just there for flavor and for fun. As is this bookstore. Which do you like? porno, Takeshi's autograph, Das Kapital, treasure book, or a diet book, or a treasure map.
Das Kapital.
I think I'll take the treasure map if you don't mind. Thank you very much. So as you see here, we have a treasure map. It's all jargon on the right. It is deliberately, in the case of this translation, unreadable. It is to indicate that this is a counterfeit treasure map, that this is not the treasure map that you need. There are multiple other treasure maps you can obtain that are not actually useful.
Oh, here we go. Yes. Talk to this guy, threatening tone 4 times.
Don't shout like that. Fucking stop that. They have an amazing drink at Gold's. So yeah, just having to, like, repeatedly talk to these people, annoy these people, even as they're attacking you. The hint there is meant to tell you about there is a drink that actually restores your health. One of the only means of healing yourself in the game, if you go to a certain bar and order a certain drink. Hey, wanna play pachinko?
Isn't Dix Pachinko like the main character of Rogue Warrior?
Oh, go to hell. So, pachinko parlor. How many pachinko balls will you buy? And we can play pachinko. We can earn prizes playing pachinko here. Let's do it.
Laura Lagata asks, so this is like an immersive sim?
Depending on how long you hold down the A button, your ball will land in different slots, earning you different prizes.
Have either of you ever played pachinko in real life?
I've played coin pushers, which are effectively,
I mean actual pachinko.
No. Anyway, let's just burn through all this.
No, I played, I want to say it's Yakuza 4 that had pachinko in it, and that's it. And I could not fathom what to do.
Look at these prizes here. Another treasure map, a shamisen, a shakuhachi, a videotape, a record, and a lighter. Now, I think there's multiple ways to... Well, I didn't buy anything, so she called me a creep. Let me see if this works. I don't know if this works or not. I bought multiple balls. Let's quit. Do we have the pachinko balls in our inventory still? Let's buy another bunch of them. Yes, I will stop.
I bet this doesn't work. I know what you're trying to do, I bet it doesn't work.
Buy a lighter. Yeah, it works.
Where's your inventory, though?
It doesn't actually do anything. It's a useless item, so it's...
Oh.
I think we burnt through the pachinko balls, but it is ultimately... Anyway, pachinko also is not necessarily a necessary factor in completing the game, but I'll show one thing here, which is that if you are losing at pachinko, and then you cry in agony or shout into the microphone at a certain point during this, like I'm gonna do it here. Ah! That's it for today. Oh, we didn't actually trigger it. It is possible. Actually, no. I'm sure we'll find the hints that clues you into what you're meant to do there. Maybe it's even this old man here.
Let's see.
He looks unique. Fill in this form. Maybe I need to talk to him normally and then walk off screen and back onto the screen.
Is the store on the... Is that a flower store?
Yes.
No. Okay, yes. You need to talk in a normal tone of voice.
Oh, this is the travel shop, actually. But it's close to the flower shop. What? Who am I? Where am I? Yeah, etc., etc. Oh, he gives me the song lyrics again.
Okay, no. This is a different one, then.
Where do you want to go? Sure, you can buy a ticket here to one of several scenic locations, the Europe, USA, South Pacific, Africa, or the Middle East. You know, I'm gonna buy a plane ticket to the USA.
Do you have the money for it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do.
This is a shop that you can't actually enter. Here is the flower shop. Is it this guy?
Yeah. Normal tone 2 times, yeah.
Is it... Wait, when you say this guy, do you mean the guy in green?
No.
The delinquent?
What tone of voice are you in?
I'm in normal mode. Let's try this one. It could be that it's two NPCs on the screen at the same time.
There we
Cheap
go.
daikon.
Trust me, there's an O behind that.
Yes. Well, thanks for the hint, buddy. What is the cheap daikon supposed to be a hint for again?
Here we go. Yep. Well, the Cumbrian floor also has an alternative translation. The daikon root is cheap, which they guess is probably a hint to the final part of the game on the island with the cauldron, and it's what it says, cannibals, which is spoilers, but there you go.
Yes. I bought a cake. Doesn't actually appear in our inventory, just burns through money, but
Yeah.
immersion.
All right, I have a question.
Please.
We've talked about there's karaoke in this game.
Mm-hmm.
We have played pachinko in this game. This is quite possibly a game from Seta. Is there mahjong in this game?
No.
God damn it.
If only. I think that would have probably been a bit too much.
Mhm.
Yeah,
crammed
probably. I have heard about the difficulties of trying to make mahjong games on these
Look at all these
older
people
consoles.
freaking out at the edge of the screen. And I actually don't know how to... It's one of the screens you can't actually leave the streets by conventional means. I think there's got to be like a secret
Yeah.
exit or something.
Yeah, I know where the secret exit is here.
Oh,
Or
can
no,
you
one
remind
of
me?
them is. Right there.
Right here?
Between those two bikes things.
Thank you. That takes us back home.
Okay, if this is your home, go into
No, that's
the
not your home. That's
that was
the
a neighbor's house.
Oh, well, if you can go to your home as well.
We were there, but what do you want to check out there?
Talk to one of your kids at the home with a normal tone of voice 4 times. This
Oh,
plays
I
a
missed that,
tricky-
yeah.
Yeah. It's because the messages aren't in, like, location order. They're in, like, number value order. So I'm having to scroll around quite a
Yeah,
bit.
I need to, because they're going to beat me to death if I don't do this. I have to do this so I can actually talk to my kids.
Listen,
There's a strange man here.
your dad.
Yeah, not wrong.
What form? Strange relationship with the kids.
Number 23.
Yep, that's the hint.
Oh, we have a third
That
kid
does-
now.
That does come into play later. And outside the house, talk to one of 2 blue men in the location with your home with a normal tone of voice twice.
I wonder if they mean the Yakuza here.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
Do you know me?
Oh, he gives the
I don't think it's
sunburst
that
again.
guy. Maybe a little closer to home. Maybe this guy?
Maybe
No, I'd say... No, but if you... Oh, there's another one here. If you talk to the red man in front of the first private house with a normal tone of voice 4 times... The other man, I think, is more to the right. Because there's a big house. But, yeah, keep talking to the red guy. It's one of these red guys, yeah.
on the form.
Behave
we go.
yourself at the pachinko parlor. That is supposed to be the clue that if you get rowdy, if you yell into the microphone, that something will happen.
Mhm.
So really, you need to do the antithesis of their advice. You
Yeah.
need to do the opposite of what they say for you to do to trigger an event that happens there.
Yeah. So somewhere outside of this big building, so it might be that guy. It's a bit confusing because these ones are attacking you, but apparently...
Yes. Even
can
hostile
still-
NPCs have helpful hints.
A lot of people have the song lyrics. It might just be one of the random
Okay,
ones.
so yeah, if it's not him, it's the one we passed.
Or him.
Or him.
Uh,
Or what the guy who just spawned in. There's 3 guys now. Maybe just tell me what the hint
Yes.
here is.
Here we go. So, yeah, you talk to one of 2 blue men in the location in the normal tone of voice twice to reveal the secret message. I don't have any money. Isn't there a treasure map somewhere?
That's actually the most essential hint, funnily
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
That is one that tells you how to proceed in the game. Or what the critical path is. We can go see a movie here. This film sucks.
Try
Yeah.
watching another movie.
This film sucks.
Fuck. Try again.
This film sucks.
Maybe next one would be better.
Oops, I dropped some money. And you
But
lose
the
half
movie
your
was
money.
fine.
This film sucks. He's not even facing the right
Okay.
way watching it. That's
Yeah, it just
he might get more out of it
Imagine-
if he
Imagine going to the theater and some guy is sitting in front of you, turned around to look at you, and just going, "This film sucks."
This lady anything? What the hell?
Let's see. I know there is one person in the starting location. It's apparently important to talk to. And
Maybe
I think there is one
her?
near the. There is a bank one. Yeah, talk to the woman in front of the bank with the threatening tone of voice 4 times.
Right. So a lot of trial and error here. To be clear, like, is this intuitive? Absolutely not. Is it a unique thing that you can just talk to NPCs?
This is a vague hint. This one.
What the hell? I love karaoke.
There we go. That's the hint. Yeah.
Well, take that advice to heart. Let's go to the bank.
Get a loan.
I don't have money for your kind.
Salaryman.
Don't put off paying your taxes. Make a withdrawal? Yes. Thank you very much. I think it gives us a little bit of extra money. For whatever it's worth.
Yeah.
Let's go to Joy Street. Grilled Mormons.
This is apparently a pun.
Yes, on grilled, like, Horman, I believe, which... The extent of the joke is that it sounds like Mormon. We can get some different alcohols here.
If you drink enough non-alcoholic beer, you will get drunk.
Give me a premium sake.
In real life.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, I'm glad I did that. What do you want to drink? Give me another premium sake. These do nothing for you. You accomplish nothing by drinking at this particular cheap restaurant.
They water it down.
Club Akemi. Hello. Take a seat at the bar. Why don't... Nope, hold on, sorry. She was getting in the way. She constantly runs into you. They're programmed to constantly, like, collision course with you so you can't walk past them.
Drink up, coming in.
From Jordan Games. Yeah, don't mind if I do. Give me a whiskey on the rocks. 10,000 yen? Yeah, sure, why not?
Like...
I thought
there was like a bubble going on in Japan around this time, right? Why does everything cost so fucking much?
Is this guy anything?
Yeah, let me see.
Officer is a strange man, and he's supposed to be the cop. Oh, I think he actually knocked my ass out. There we go.
Bank.
And you'll notice that he disappears from the screen, so this is how you actually preserve life.
Yes.
It's by clearing enemies from the screen.
Yeah, the police officer in front of Bar Gold.
Yes, I will do that momentarily. First...
What you have? Tylenol and a Band-Aid.
Which of these drink... I think it's the tequila. The tequila is what actually restores your health.
Yeah.
That is correct.
See, we actually have an extra heart now that we can lose immediately because these Yakuza thugs try to beat the shit out of us. It also doesn't really matter because you can just revive if you know the revival code. Officer, where art thou? Here we go.
There he is.
Alright, we're in normal tone. 5 minutes is your challenge. That is vague as shit, but I know exactly what it means.
Yes. The alternative translation on Cameron Floor is 5 minutes is short.
Hello, waitress.
What?
Which
Hostess.
maybe makes a little bit more sense.
You know what? We've made it to the karaoke bar. Let's go ahead and... Well, first, let's get some drinks in us. Yeah, I'll take a liquor.
Everything in this world is like so ridiculously expensive except singing karaoke.
How about another? Well, okay. Want another? Yeah, sure, why not? Couldn't help but notice you have an empty glass there. Give me another, bartender. What an enabler, hot damn.
Yeah.
Huh? It's pitch black.
Night-night.
Oh, we need to jump over here. You're drunk again. I told you to stop this. What? Got something to say? Spit it out. Food. A bath. Let's go to bed. I want to travel. I want a divorce. Well, clearly. You're seeing someone else, aren't you? You won't get away with this. Pay alimony or punch. Ay, ay, ay. Let's pay the alimony, which takes away half of our money. They are still hostile to us as we remain inside the building. Hey,
you won't get away with this. Okay, actually, you know what? You'll get away with this. You can leave.
So hey, now we're officially divorced. We quit our job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
The world is our oyster.
Out of my way. I have places to go. I still have that plane ticket to the United States.
Start a new life there.
Yeah, clearly there's nothing left for us here because of our own action, because of our own stupidity and stubbornness and our own behavior. So,
yeah, I'll mention.
I don't know how, but somehow my actions had consequences.
Funny that.
I'll mention it. There was also one more hint person in just outside the house, which tells you there is a strange old man at the karaoke stack, which is the name of the karaoke bar.
Yes, we will be there shortly. Now tell me if there's anyone on this screen besides the obvious one. By the way, you can do a super jump by tapping down before you jump, which is essential.
The very first man in the Airport Valley location. Is that where this is?
Yes, but this guy is also, you can tell straight away this guy is important. Who am I? Where am I? I'm not your buddy.
This guy's a Duplo piece.
Hey, Yoshikawa!
Oh, here we go.
I got married too. So that's our character's surname, is Yoshikawa.
Oh.
This is the only reference to their name in the game. Anyway.
So,
I'm not married anymore, doofus.
Yeah.
Get with the times.
I can't let anyone know my name.
And let's go to the new Narita International Airport, redeem our ticket, and see where it takes us.
Sweet freedom.
Finally, a change of music, too.
Start a new life in America. Land of the free.
Can't wait to see all the sights, the sounds, the burgers. Was that a terrorist act? An accident? A mysterious explosion destroyed the plane. So you can't go to the USA in this game. And let's just start over from that point. I think we burnt all the bridges in that particular playthrough. Let's start a new one, why don't we? See where else we can go to. Get our tiny bonus. Get our money for it. And then we'll come back here.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play the game smartly, there are some certain things you can sort of piece together. Like, I will spoil that divorcing your wife is essential to progression.
Oh, here you go. Talk to that red man there in a threatening tone 8 times.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Also respawn him.
Yeah.
Hey,
red guy.
It's more to the left.
Yeah, I know, but I have to spawn him in.
Yeah. There he is.
Oh. I actually needed to reset the Famicom microphone there. Oh.
Don't shout like that, man.
Alright, so I'm noticing... Well, let's go through this first. Also, there's a strange man in my voice, in my text box.
What? 3 times if you die, which is the only hint you get. That there's something you can do 3 times as you're in your brief dying animation to pick you back up and respawn you. So that is the hint that it is possible to live after death.
I wanted to get that one.
What I was gonna bring up was we've seen "fuck" appear a lot in this translation, and we will see more of it. Doesn't Japanese not really have curse words?
That's not true.
I could have sworn I've heard that it's not like traditional curse words like in
Maybe
English.
something like that, but there's absolutely vulgarity.
Oh no, you can be rude and vulgar and stuff, but like there's nothing. From what I have heard, please correct me if I'm wrong. I know we have people in the audience who know about Japanese. That there's no like direct correlation between "fuck" to something.
Possibly.
From what I understand, it tends to be more like short sentences or phrases.
Do any of these other locations besides the South Pacific take us to anywhere, do anything interesting or unique?
No, it's only South Pacific.
Well, USA had the plane explode. I'm just wondering.
No, they all have the plane explode.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
I
that's
couldn't
the
remember
case.
that detail. I just wanted to make sure. So we'll not buy our ticket for now. I mean, why would we want to go to the South Pacific anyway? What reason would we have to go there? Clearly, none of them will come up.
Clayote says they conjugate for vulgarity.
Now, let's get out of here. Back to here. And let's go sing some karaoke, why don't we? Or should we start getting on the critical path now? You know what? No, I still want to do a little bit more playing around. Even though there is some playing around to be done on the place where we'd want to progress to. So maybe I should have bought that ticket. Now that I think about it. Whoops. Well, that's alright.
Yeah, K4 Boom asked about does the plane always explode, so
Well,
if you go to
maybe
any
don't-
destination...
Maybe we don't spoil it yet.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually, yes.
We will need to use the plane at some point, but right now we're running into an explodey issue.
So, here's something fun. Karaoke machine is out of order. Activating the karaoke machine means you can't sing karaoke. I think this is a straight-up bug or issue, like an issue in scripting. I have to reset the world state, because what we want to do here, and this is something that is very unclear, I don't think there's a hint that specifically points towards this, how to activate the karaoke machine. But,
Okay.
Let's get liquored up.
I do want to say, to end the question I had about cursing, Video Game Geek says, there are words that would have similar effects to swear words in English. The problem is that they're mostly pronouns and particles that inherently do not translate into English. It's all about conveying tone rather than using specific words. Okay, so
2 drinks, and let's say we've had enough. Won't you sing karaoke? Well, I thought your machine was broken. Well, alright.
for you, sir, I'll tell you the truth. The machine works.
What kind of song do you want to sing? Let's go through some of these songs. Let's check out their ballads. Let's check out the Red Fox. We don't have that one. Oh, well, how about my other favorite song, Salaryman Blues? Sorry, we don't have that one.
I have to imagine that the sheer number of songs in here, even if they don't have them, is like what's taking up a lot of room on memory.
Possibly.
Because text can take up a lot of room on an old NES game.
I'm a Pop Star, Blue Socks, Cat Experience, which actually is one of the songs that works. Watch R for Love. I think it's meant to be Watch Out for Love or Watch for Our Love. Eloping at Night. I'm just going through the set list here. If you get the Takeshi's Challenge soundtrack, featuring such hits as Hanagase Ondo, Okinawa Yuta, Tanko Bushi, Isashi Oiwake.
You put the CD in, and there's like 5 seconds of silence, and then someone says, "Sorry, we don't have that."
Featuring such children's songs as Koi Nobori, Pato Papo, Akatonbo, Yuki ya Kokon, or Konkon, Kasajizo. And of course, like, the gag is that 95% of these will just be, we don't have that song. But there are 3 songs that actually you can. Oso
Okay.
Mio,
I was
Troika.
going to ask how many worked.
Exactly 3. So, the one that is essential that you have to do first is Reign of Tears, the one that the NPCs sing. So, I hate to do this to you, but I'm gonna sing the song. Steel yourselves, folks. Ahem, hem, 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 hem. Me, 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 me. Anata no tame nara dokomade mo tsuite yukuru watashi setsu na omoi ai wo uta ni shite ame furu shinkai.
We have to find the answer.
That was
by
shit. Get out of
ourselves.
here. Well, I thought I did okay. I thought. Thank you very much. See, at least some people appreciate my singing prowess.
We gotta say something nice coming in.
This game's great. I love this game. Are you kidding? There's nothing bad to say about it yet, besides the fact that it's completely cryptic and impossible to beat. Beyond that, it's great.
Okay, so
Quit while we're
what did
ahead.
you do wrong? Is the question.
I did not actually tap the microphone button the requisite number of
Okay.
times. We'll come back to this. I want
A lot
to.
of waitresses in here.
There sure are.
They have nothing better to do.
You know what I want to do? I want to. Did we divorce our wife in this playthrough?
No, not yet. We haven't even quit our job in this playthrough.
Alright, very good. In that case, what I want to do is. Let's say we decided to go to the South Pacific. Let's buy our ticket. Let's first get some money in our pockets. Ka-ching.
I love this sales chart, by the way.
Yeah, company's not doing great. Sign resignation. Yes, yes. I will take that. Thank you, sir. Fuck you, sir.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think you've already done stuff in the wrong order.
Oh, I'm not doing this deliberately correct right now. I'm deliberately doing this wrong.
Oh, okay. Alright. I thought you said this was the one where we try to do it.
No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trigger some stuff that happens in the game. Some of the things that reset you, as it were. Some of the Well, let's go to the travel shop.
I understand completely.
Let's go to the South Pacific here. Yeah, I think we have enough for that ticket. Alright, let's get the fuck out of Dodge.
Jordan Game says, honestly, this just reminds me of all the fun parts of Yakuza.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if we've stressed this enough, but this game for 1986, it is ridiculous the things that you're able to do in this game. The sheer amount of choices, of space to be explored, and, like, unique backdrops, and we're about to experience another unique location. If I can survive the Yakuza.
Consider it's come up a few times. I have to ask, has Yu Suzuki ever referenced this being an influence on Shenmue?
If not, he's lying to himself in the audience, because absolutely a game like this would have been notorious.
Because it's more sincere there, but there is a lot of interactive stuff you can do in that game that is just for the sake of interactivity, like stuff you can buy in the stores that doesn't do anything. Or
You know what I'm gonna do?
mini games just to waste time,
What are you
things
gonna
like
do?
that.
Let's buy a pilot's license, because I'm gonna fly over to the South Pacific. And what if something happens to the pilot? What if I need to take control of the plane? This could come in handy, I would think. And we actually have our pilot's certificate in the inventory, so
Yeah,
that might
look at that.
lead you to believe that this is actually a useful item.
Please,
I like
please leave.
how you can just pay for a pilot's license here, and you
Oh,
just get
sorry.
it.
Sorry.
You're all good. So let's take a international flight, why don't we?
The thing I was also thinking of that reminds me of this game in Shenmue is if you take too long in Shenmue, like you let too many days roll past, Londi, the like main antagonist, just comes back and just kills your main character, which is very Takeshi's challenge.
No doubt.
Isn't it like an extremely long amount of time? Or are you
I
talking
don't
about
know
like
the
an
exact
earlier
amount
fail
of-
state?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
you
remember the
have to-
exact amount of time, but yeah, it's just like if you are just clearly wasting time, after a while it happens.
Oh, I thought. So is that different than like the meta time limit of until spring?
Let's see.
We're on our flight, by the way. We're on our way to the
Yep.
South Pacific.
All right. If anything happens, you can take over the plane. Like, if it explodes, you can just take the handle and fly the exploded plane, like that.
Wait, that's not
All
supposed
right.
to happen. Oh, you need the... I'm remembering the order of events here.
See, I thought you were doing that as a bit.
No, what I was going to do is I was going to land on the island because you are meant to go to the South Pacific, but you need...
Yes, there's something else you need for the plane not to blow the fuck up.
That's right. I think now is the time where we begin on the critical path, as it were.
Okay.
And I'm going to do some of the optional stuff. I'm going to do all the stuff that allows stuff to happen in the game. I'm going to maximize the content in the game. First things first. And this is the explanation of why you do the things you do in this game, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We need some amount of money, and the easiest way to get a bit of money at the start is to collect that first check. We don't want to get all the money we can get. We don't want to tender a resignation or pull out of this money here, because we already know of this 200,000 yen, or what is it? 200,000? Yeah, 200,000 yen. We're going to lose half of that, right?
Right.
So we should spend this while we got it. Like, for example, let's go to the cultural center, and let's pick up a few things. Like, let's learn a language. I'm just gonna close my eyes and pick one. Let's learn this Hintabo language, which is not a real language, I don't believe. That'll cost us 50,000 yen. Very good.
Download that information to your brain.
And while we're here, let's also pick up... I am going to pick up, and you're going to wonder why I'm doing this. I am going to pick up the pilot license again, because I want to demonstrate something when the time comes.
Yep.
Alright, we got 50,000 yen left. Let's use that to learn a musical instrument, specifically the shamisen. There's 45,000 yen. That should leave us with 5,000 yen. And now we have our pilot certificate. There's one more thing I would want to learn from here, but because we made ourselves broke, we're not going to be able to pay for it right now. Now, I did learn how to play the shamisen, so how do we get ourselves a shamisen?
I thought you were talking about it in real life for a second.
No, not quite.
So it was like, by the way, I did learn how. Anyway, yeah, we saw it. It's one of the prizes here at the pachinko parlor.
But getting all those balls, getting 5,000, however many, 4,000 balls is going to take a minute. So, let's go ahead and start a fucking incident. Let's make trouble. Let's pay 100 yen.
No, wait, on this save file right now, is your microphone turned on for the second port?
Good question.
You have to...
Give me a second here.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. Okay. Hello. There we go.
Alright.
Okay.
I think that resets every time you start a new game.
I believe so. So let's have really bad luck at pachinko, why don't we? They said that we need to restrain ourselves, be calm, be cool, keep the peace here. But we're not having a very good day right now. So, god damn it. Huh. That's not supposed to happen. Let me try doing this a little bit more tactically. Alright, I'm pressing that A button on the second controller now. A bunch of times. Shut up, you dick!
There we go.
And now the Yakuza comes in. And I'm going to use the time-tested tactic of being a coward.
Where did he go? I can't see him.
Must have been nothing. I think you just need to survive here for a period of time. Oh, no. I did not mean to press up there.
I thought it was they dropped something.
Yeah, that might be it. Like let's go ahead and knock him out.
Yeah.
I think I remember one guide saying that you can just wait it out. Wow, you're so weak. Hey, those guys had loads of pachinko balls. Wow, 5,000 balls. What a haul. And while we're still getting assaulted by the Yakuza, let's get ourselves this goddamn shamisen.
We'll soothe them with the power of music.
And there we go, we see the shamisen in our inventory now. Which means that we need to get the hell out of this. We don't have enough money for the plane ticket either right now, so... warp back home. That's the only way to get off of that street. And now we're going to continue the game by going back to the bar.
Timrod says, you know what this reminds me of a lot? Is Alf on the Sega Master System.
They're not wrong. I know exactly what they mean.
I remember the part in the Alf game where, like, Alf's friend goes like, shut up, you dick!
Joy Streets. Now, before we do the necessary karaoke, what I want to do here is get blackout drunk. Oh wait, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I still want to trigger something specifically that happens if you don't get blackout drunk. So let us do some karaoke. That means taking 2 drinks, no more, no less. Well, I've had enough. Why won't you sing karaoke? All right.
All right, now do it right this time.
Yes. Which requires...
Punching out those hostesses.
Well, they were preventing me from accessing the block I needed to access. Okay. You're not going to have to listen to me sing again, but I am going to tap the A button on the second controller 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. Anywhere between 14 and 40 inputs will do what you need it to do.
I think on every verse you have to do something.
Yes. So this screen too, yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
I would like to see a live action recreation of this playthrough at some point.
That was great! Won't you sing an encore? Well, okay. Let's listen to a different song, because this should still work. The first song needs to be that, but let's listen to Cat Experience. Another jaunty little tune.
What were you going to say, Johnny, by the way?
So it's related to this A-Press thing. I find it fascinating that the only note from Nintendo about changing stuff was that
I forgot to press buttons.
compatibility.
I totally forgot to press the buttons there. Whoopsies.
It doesn't seem like they wanted any content changes or anything. It was just the...
Hey, the microphone bit's not going to work the way you expect it to work,
Yeah.
so... 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That was great. Will you sing an encore? Well, okay, if you insist. And now I think the last song that actually has a song attached is Okinawa
Don't
Yunta.
Stop Believin'.
Don't! Ojama no kajama arara. Nantara
I was kind of
kantara.
thinking if some mad lad out there would do a ROM hack of this game that just adds more inane like karaoke and stuff like
God, I
that to the
wish.
game.
Don't be a dick. Stop hogging the mic. Apologize or brawl. Well, obviously, I'm gonna choose violence. Oh, I pressed it 4 times by accident, you see. 2, 3.
Yeah. I saw some mentions earlier in the chat about references to Grand Theft Auto and the kind of simulated random violence, and like, yeah, this would be probably the first
Progenitor.
example of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good for a youngin'. You might be able to solve this map's riddle. Here, take this treasure map. The old man gave you a blank piece of paper. What will you do? Well, we have some options here. We can just stare at it. We can set it on fire. We can soak it in water, dip it in ink, expose it to the sun, or just throw it away. Pathetic.
choose?
What a
Oh.
waste. I gave you a chance in everything. All right, that one is obviously not the right answer. Maybe setting it on fire is the correct answer. It burnt. This is why I hate amateurs. So clearly that's not it either. Well, I'll let you know that we have 2 options here. There is expose it to the sun. This would take, in real time, a full hour, where during that hour, if you press any buttons, it will destroy the map.
Yeah. If I remember right, I want to say that's how Reno did it in Game Center CX.
Or there is soak it in water.
It's the Star Tropics solution.
So I'm looking at the time right now, and soak in water. Now, with this, we need to wait 5 minutes in real time.
Now, there is another option that won't get you the solution. If you stare at it, you stare at it for 5 hours. Also, you have no control at that point. All your controls are locked. You have to sit there for 5 hours. After about 3, I'm taking this all from the counter cert video, by the way. After 3 hours, the game will say, this is the end of our broadcasting day, and cut to a TV test pattern for the next 2 hours. And then once that's over, gives you control again, and you lose the note.
Mm-hmm. So between 5 and 10 minutes, if after the 5-minute mark, but before the 10-minute mark, if you activate the second microphone to shout at the map, it will reveal the actual contents of the map.
So how's everyone's
Johnny-
days going?
Yeah, I was about to ask you, Johnny. It's been good for me. I played a little bit of Monster Hunter earlier, just doing some collecting some stuff. I played some Rishi Mahjong. That was fun. Just playing that with friend of the show, Devious Vacuum, who's doing a lot to teach me how to play Mahjong. What have you been up to today?
Nice. I've been slowly going through Half-Life 2, looking at the brand new commentary they recorded for the campaign.
I can't wait to do that. Once I get a desk, I'm going to sit down and actually play through all that.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of video game commentaries, and just played a little bit of Hat in Time as well. Been going on and off with that game.
Yeah, I've been really thinking about what I want to play next as like a long-term thing, like beyond doing Monster Hunter. I'm thinking maybe that new Indiana Jones game. Like everyone seems to really like that.
Yeah.
But I got so much of a backlog of stuff that I could get to. I was kind of thinking of playing Castlevania. What is it, Lords of Shadow?
Mm-hmm.
Like actually going back and trying it, but I don't know. I don't know if I really want to commit to that right now or not.
Yeah, I really liked it on release. I've been tempted to replay because I'm curious how I feel about it. Over a decade later. Oh.
So, while we're waiting, something I
Yeah.
figure I might as well show off while we are waiting in real time, and I do appreciate the small talk, by the way. But you want to see some of the commercials for the game, the 2 commercials that aired for the game?
Yeah.
And
One of which straight up tells you how to solve this puzzle. That gives a solution to this, as well as the karaoke song that you need to sing. Because I have those.
Yeah, go for it.
I do have a question because I've seen a little bit of it. What is he doing at the start here?
Let's take a look together. Let's watch together and try to piece it together.
Beat Takeshi-san, Famicom ソフト。Takeshi の挑戦状新発売配当。
So that first one gives you the hint that you need to shout at the map while it is soaking. They don't tell you when you need to shout at it, but they do indicate that you need to shout at it. So that is, again, you'd have to watch the commercial to get that particular hint.
That's wild.
Now let's watch the second commercial.
Is this the first ARG in a video game? Like having outside content to advance.
And there we go. Those are 2 commercials. Now, as for the question of what the hell Takeshi is doing in this, at the beginning here, what is he holding on to?
Yeah, it's just because obviously it's resolution at the time, and this is probably a VHS recording. It's vague imagery of just there's something he's polishing or wiping. I can't figure out what it is.
No idea on this end either. But yeah, as you can see from that, they give those commercials are not just sizzle for the game, they are also essential hints. We still have a minute left.
Okay. I found that Mahjong game I've been playing on my phone, Kimono Mahjong. Apparently that's on Steam too. So I added that to my wish list.
I've just been playing Stalker 2. That's the only game I've been playing. The only game I give a shit
you know
about.
what? I want to mention. I mentioned this on Blue Sky, but I played a beta for an upcoming speedrun platformer game called Stunt Boost. I played it over the weekend. It's real fun. I would suggest people look up videos of that. Maybe wishlist it on Steam. Looks like it's a very small team working on it, but I enjoyed it. Like as a fan of stuff like Marble Blast, for those kind of speedrun platformers, I really enjoyed it.
There we go.
Oh.
Hey.
And as you can see from this map is not just a map that we need to consult. There's also some extra hints on this page. Ticket Blessing. This is what gives you the luck to not have the plane crash. Somehow this map has a blessing attached to it.
But only if you go to South America.
Only if you go to the South Pacific, yes. Breeze 4 Beach. You can see that there's 4 islands here. This is a hint that the island that you need to actually stop off at is the 4th island. No other one will do. Drop Sky, Wet Sage, Benefact, Hit Peak. These are hints as to which vehicle, which mode of transportation you need to use. We won't give that away just yet. Wet Sage is a hint as to a NPC that we'll meeting, a sage we'll be meeting, and what he might require, an item we might need to give him. Benefact, I don't remember. Hit Peak is a locational cue. And that's the information we can glean from this. So let's go ahead, take the map, and thank you very much, old man. Goodbye.
What a nice old man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Surely
so-
he won't do anything later to us in the game. That's the last we've seen of him. Maybe we'll come back and split the money with him. I don't know. Oh, you know what I need to do, though?
You need to go back to the bar, don't you?
No, you know what? I don't need to. I know what I'm gonna do. I know exactly how I want to play this. Let's go ahead and get ourselves some money again. Let's get our nest egg, why don't we? We don't have the ticket yet, right?
No. You said we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, let's make it so we can afford it. And you know, I'm also going to do a save game here. Sign resignation. Alright, thank you for your services. Let's get the most money we can get in the game at once. And then
Oh, fun
supplement
fact
that.
there, if you pick the punch your boss option, you'll get in trouble, but if you also resign, you still get your full severance. For some reason.
Duly noted.
You don't get fired for doing that.
Oh, he's glad to see you go at that point.
People in the chat are trying to tell me how to play the game like I'm not the world's leading expert. I know what I'm doing here. Come on, give me some fucking credit, won't you? Come on, folks. Let's get our ticket. To the
Also, it's
South
come
Pacific.
up a few times, so I do have to ask you, Cass, what do you think of Shenmue?
It's a forklift simulator for assholes.
Yeah.
The honest truth is, I don't love it. I appreciate its ambition. I think Yu Suzuki is a madman for envisioning it as a 9-part series right out the gate. And it did not pay off. It has
Well, I
not
mean,
paid
the
off
third
for
one
multiple reasons.
The third one was good, though, so at least it paid off there.
Oh, yeah. That's the one. That's the one that people remember fondly.
Yeah, that's about where I fall. Like, I can appreciate a lot what it does, but I don't think it comes together very cohesively.
You know
Though
what?
I do want to give the second one an honest try.
I played the first one
Let's
on
get one more
Dreamcast back in
license.
the day. And, like, I appreciated it as a curio. I didn't really enjoy playing it. Like, I didn't have the patience for it. I was like, this is neat. I understand what this is trying to do, and that is neat.
I learned how to hang glide, by the way, because this will come in handy later.
That's true in real life, too.
Yeah, no. And let's go to the airport, why don't we? And nothing will go wrong, because we have that ticket blessing.
I was also thinking of Shenmue because finding out that there was potentially a Takeshi's Challenge 2 on Xbox, it's such a far removed thing, but it made me think, is that the reason that Shenmue 2 got an Xbox port?
I mean, it was because they were
that
paying a lot of money to try to get Japanese developers interested in producing content for the Xbox.
But you're thinking that it's the next best thing if they couldn't get the catch.
Yeah.
Because they didn't put both on there. They only did the second one, and weirdly, because I know this, I knew someone who had Shenmue 2 because it didn't release in America, but it did get a PAL release, but it was undubbed. But the Xbox port, they actually did dub the whole thing in English, and it's like Shenmue 1 quality still, and it's a lot the same voice actors. It's a weird version.
We landed safely,
Hey!
and here we are in the South Pacific. We even get a new outfit. Look at that.
Yeah.
Now, you gotta tell me if any of these
Yes,
NPCs...
yep. When on the island, go right a little, then go back to the airport. Talk to a woman in pink in a normal tone 4 times.
We know what tone we're in right now.
Normal. Is this the lady?
Look,
Yes.
sounds right.
Yeah. The images are a little small, so...
The people of Chabarin Island think poetry is a treasure. And it certainly is.
That's a very big hint, actually.
That's a massive hint.
Yeah.
Something we need to do.
Yep, and once you're done with the bank, there's one as well.
I just realized, okay, we still have the tickets South Pacific, that's good. Let's exchange our currency. So we can actually spend money in this place. If you deposit money, you can't withdraw it. Just to skip this little bit of... actually, you know what? Fuck it. Show it. Why not, right? Thank you very much. How much money does that leave us with? None. Oh, now I want my money back.
Nope.
So that's just an easy trap that you can get stuck in right there. Did I rewind?
Not even any text.
Nope. Rewind a little bit
enough.
more. All right, cool.
Okay.
Here we go. So talk to the second man in front of that bank with a normal tone of voice twice.
This guy?
Does he have a hat?
It's one of the hat. There's apparently 2 can show up.
You can't fly the plane without a runway. Well, I'll be the judge of that in due time.
Yeah. Of course you can. You can't land it. You can still fly it though. Ain't no problem.
We can go to the hotel here.
Mm-hmm.
Please choose a room. The stables, the attic, the standard, the luxury, and the deluxe. I will let you know that you can choose any of these options and you'll get a good night's sleep. But choosing the deluxe room will actually restore your health, unlike the other ones, which are just cruel jokes on you. Look how much health we have now.
Hell yeah.
More than we've ever had before.
So here, if you talk to this woman in pink with a normal tone 4 times.
That song's real popular everywhere.
Get the holy rock. Well, I will certainly do that.
Yeah. Also to note that learning Hintabo is the reason we can even understand.
Otherwise, it'd be a cipher
here.
where every letter is one letter previous in the alphabet, or something like that. Buy something, will ya? Well, someone mentioned poetry, so might as well do that.
You also technically don't need to learn that language because all the options are always the same. Granted, you're playing the game a second time if you're doing that. If you're like going into it like, I already know what the choice is, then you already know what to fucking do.
You know what? I'm just gonna buy some whiskey just for the hell of it. Does it do anything? No, but I feel good about it. So the poetry is also translated as embroidery, depending on how you choose to translate it. Here's a casino. This is the roulette table. Put it all on black or red. Congratulations, here's double your money. So you can do this to earn some extra money. It's obviously a 1 in 4 chance that the option you choose, or maybe like lower odds than that, you either lose half your money or double your money. We just happen to double our money and get lucky.
Okay, wait. Talk to this lady. Twice, I think.
Let's try 4 times. No.
Well, it's supposed to be a lady who looks like that in front of this casino.
You may need to walk off and walk back on.
Yeah. Probably her. 1, 2. The poop will lead you underground.
There we go.
I've heard that before.
Uh-huh. And then talk to the man in hat just right to the woman in pink in front of casino with a threatening voice 8 times.
Alright, switch to threateningly. Strange man here. Fill in this form.
Oh, there's quite a few around this area. Okay.
Oh. Get back here. I don't know if we fucked it up already. First, on the big rock.
That's it, yep.
Want to buy some equipment?
And then... Yeah, go...
What will you buy? I think we're gonna need a canteen for where we're going. You know, it's probably just good practice, good,
Yep.
a good idea to have that. Oh, right, I need to. Duh. What will you buy? Oh, a gun. Can't hurt. I mean, it can hurt other people.
I was gonna say.
Alright, we have a gun now. We're still punching. That means we need to go to the weapon. Select the gun. And now... So...
That's the first time. Okay, go back a bit as well, because also you need to talk to the second man in the hat, just right, the woman in pink, in a normal tone of voice 4 times.
normal tone.
Yes. Also, at one point we have to go back to the Miyagi store.
Okay. What did I miss in the Miyagi store?
You talk to the woman in pink inside the store to reveal
Oh, he wasn't interested.
the special message third in front of Compass Rock. All these ones are about rocks and
You know, let's just leave it as is. I don't want to walk all the way
I'll
back.
read them in order because it kind of makes sense to read them all in order. So the first hint is the first time is above the big rock. The second hint is the second level is below the third rock. And the third hint is third in front of Compass Rock.
So, here we see a plane, and it just so happens I have a pilot's license. So we know we need to go to a little deeper. We have to take another trip here. What'll you do? Well, we can go scuba diving, ballooning, take a cruise, Cessna flying, or hang gliding. Hang gliding seems dangerous. Let's go flying, why don't we? Enjoy! And here we have a new style of gameplay, a scrolling shooter. So nice change of pace here. We have controls, up, down, left, right. Some gusts of wind.
Yeah, let's see Shenmue do this.
Birds we have to destroy along the way.
Maybe one day.
Yep, that'll be part 7.
So this is how we will make it to the island, presumably. One hit will kill you from the birds. True to real life planes.
Well, I mean,
and you can't respawn here either.
These birds are as big as your plane.
That's true.
So that probably would go horrific if it crashed into you. We also we missed to talk to a woman inside the equipment store. Do you want me to just read that one?
Yes, please.
From the English fan translation, there are Imperial Japanese soldiers hiding on the island.
Yes, that is another essential hint.
Yeah. And also, there's one that the Cameron floor claims that is unknown where it is. This is just being accessed using hacks. Which is only the chief of Charbarin Island is a human.
Weird phrasing on that, but...
Yeah. Like, you know, that could potentially be a mistranslation. Like a literal translation kind of thing. I don't know if it uses the word Ningen specifically.
So we've flown past the second island at this point. If we're following the critical path, that means that we would land on the fourth island. Is the necessary island. I don't remember if the hint specifically said that. Or the hint on the map said it, didn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Now we have UFOs attacking us, which their bullets, believe it or not, do not instantly kill. You can take like 6 shots. Which is handy.
They have not yet learned how to harness the power of bird.
Ow. Well, I don't want that to happen. There's still some game left to play. I can't die now. It's actually better just to dodge these things rather than putting yourself in their crosshairs. Third island.
Yep. Hit the butt.
Oh, now we got double trouble. Alright, I think I see it in the distance. Assuming we don't die, I think there's a fourth island coming up soon. Our destination. Ah, here we go. And let's land. There's no
Do they have a
runways on
runway
the
on that
island.
island? No.
Yeah, no.
Ah, there's no runway.
You know, or maybe, you know what? Maybe there's a runway up ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
You
keep
just
going.
double- Yeah.
I should also
And you
mention
could
that
just
if you take a boat or scuba diving or any of the other options that are not aerial, you will just immediately crash into the first island because it's an obstacle in your way. So there's nothing to it.
So if you take the scuba stuff, will you just swim into the island and explode?
Yes.
Oh, that's mixed messaging.
Yeah,
Let's get past this island.
Yeah, let's keep driving past this one if I can.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll mention this as well, that there is the first man in hat right of the airport on the island has this hint. There is a red country on the other side of the sea. So there actually is a direct reference to telling you
that there's going to be this island.
That, yeah.
Maybe you could have went around that.
No,
instead.
no, it's just a
no?
guaranteed crash state.
Oh, well.
Okay. So, obviously, what we've gleaned from all this, and sorry for this massive rewind here, but just to give it an impression of how long we've been doing this for.
It's rewind time.
Oop, I'll rewind a little bit more while we're at it.
Okay.
So, all these options are traps. Every one of these first four, getting the pilot license will allow you to fly the plane. You can't fly the plane without the license. But again, red herring. The actual choice is hang gliding. This is the only way to safely make it to land on the fourth island. There's a problem. Let's go. We can move left. We can move right. We can move down. We cannot move up. Cannot move up.
Well, what about those, like, gusts of wind? Can they push
Yes,
you up?
you've figured it out. You need to rely on the gusts of wind. So if you ever need to move down to dodge, you also need to then line yourself up with one of the gusts of wind if you want to have any hope of going back towards the top of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like your best bet is to go back to the start of this and just stay at the top of the screen as much as you can.
No. It is not, because the birds spawn from different locations. You want to be middle of the screen so you actually have a chance to dodge some of them.
Okay. Like, my thought process would be to give yourself as many instances as possible where you could go down.
Yeah, theoretically. I mean, like, you do want to orient yourself towards the top as much as is possible, but just staying at the top of the screen is not completely safe either.
Oh, no, I didn't mean, like, stay at the top of the screen and only be at the top of the screen. I just meant
By
give
the
yourself
way,
the most wiggle room.
Only one bullet on screen allowed at a time. So in this instance here, if we miss a shot, we are fucked. But also, you can shoot through the birds, potentially, which will also fuck you up because your bolt will remain on screen. But sometimes it means you can shoot two birds, one shot, which is handy.
I should ask now. So, are we going to show that you can actually land on the other islands?
You can, but it is. We'll land on the third one.
Okay.
Oh, you can shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
As
Again,
they say.
if you want to see a bit more detail, I believe the connoisseur video does show what's on every single island.
It is extensive. Whoops. Again, watch us first.
Here we go. Land on the wrong island deliberately.
Or if you have enough monitors. That's my dream. I want the Serial Experiments lane room where there's just 10 monitors.
I mean, if you've got that many monitors, then watch us and all the monitors at once.
All right, let's go in. Hello, sir. Don't shout like that.
So, if you talk to the third man in hat in front of the hotel on the island with a normal tone of voice twice, he says, if you enter a native's house, you won't be able to escape.
That is true. This would be a soft lock. Except for the fact that if you were to go to here and access the password screen here, copy this password, and re-enter it, it will spawn you outside the hut.
Yeah.
So if you were to continue from this, it would not keep you persistently inside of the hut. So it is actually possible to remedy this somehow. What else is on this island? Anything?
this island in particular, I don't know if there's anything on this one.
No, that's
One
ultimate.
of the islands has like a hidden heart you can collect, but it's not much use considering that you're stuck.
Yes. Red herrings.
Yeah.
And expecting players to pay attention to the notes and to intuit the clues correctly. That was the third island, yes?
Yes, I believe so. At least that's what you said. I'll recognize the fourth island when we see it.
we'll find out, won't we?
The fourth island has a gust of wind
Yes.
that blows over it.
It's a minor thing, but I think it's one of the more egregious things I saw highlighted in Connoisseur's video about misinformation in reviews, was that there was
A
video
Swedish
review.
YouTuber, yeah.
Yeah.
Tricky.
That basically started a misinformation that the passwords do not
not
let
this
you
island.
escape the native houses. And that's not true. It's just an edit they did for comedic effect.
That was regurgitated as fact.
Yes. Yeah.
Alright, I think I need to
why
be a
you gotta
little
be-
higher up to get past that island.
Yeah. That's why you gotta be careful doing that stuff.
Fucking hell.
No, maybe you didn't want to shoot that one.
Maybe.
This is just making me reminisce about playing Far Cry 2 and using that hang glider.
God damn. Never said this game was easy. I never said it wasn't mean. Fucking hell. This might be tricky. Because I need to shoot this at the exact moment it appears on screen before it's capable of shooting me. Because I only have the 1 HP.
Yeah.
Which may be an impossible task here.
I think if you hadn't shot some of those... Also, I think easier said than done, but if you hadn't gotten hit a number of times earlier...
Oh, we dodged those shots. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that did hit you though, that one.
Yeah. I'm hoping I have at least 1 HP left. Okay, yes. So I can tank that shot.
Alright, I think you're out of hits that you could take.
Yes, I am.
Alright,
Fly
so it's the
past
next island.
Yes. Here's where it gets hard. Whew. Okay.
Well, it's less UFOs, which is the real issue. Alright, that's the island.
Alright.
No, you gotta...
It's
you were
very
too
specific.
far to the left, yes. No, okay, Cass, you need more time over the island, so if you're all the way to the left, you will not be able to land on it. I'm telling you, you need to be more to the right.
Yeah, I know, I get it. I'm just... It's easier said than done. I'm trying to plot my course here. Okay. There we
There you
go.
I don't know what that
the
says.
island. Here we are on the island.
Yep. Alright, I'm pretty sure there are no more hint NPCs.
No, there's
at
the
this
one.
point, so- Is
Yeah,
there?
there's... I mean, kind of. There's someone that we can talk to.
Oh no, I mean there's people
beyond...
we could talk to, but I mean, I'm going through the common room floor page and they don't have any.
Okay, well maybe not a hint in that.
Are you going to keep playing? Go back already.
Well,
It's
that's
all
fair.
a dream.
I mean, you did have your kids to look after, so.
So here's what happened. I wonder if that NPC on the screen screwed up the graphic that's supposed to appear there. Let's see here.
I don't know.
No,
No,
that's
just how it is.
Yeah, that's just how it is. So that's our wife that we didn't divorce, that we didn't pay alimony to. If you neglected at this point to pay alimony to your wife and divorce her prior to this point in the game, that is a hard reset. This will take you right back home, and you will have to... Alright, 1, 2, 3.
Do it again.
Fuck, hold
I mean,
on.
you can't just go gallivanting off like that. You've got responsibilities. It just makes sense.
If you go off again without divorcing her, will she do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
So, mercifully, you still have your inventory on you. So, if you got to that point and wanted to keep playing legitimately, you could, at this point, go back to the bar, get blackout drunk, divorce your wife, and then continue from where you were. And that's what we're going to do. Unfortunately. I want to show this... Yeah.
So there is a way to get around that. I don't remember exactly how, and it's not.
It's
super
the third
important.
island or fourth or second
Yeah.
island. It's one of the islands you can go to. You can use it as a bypass. You can skip past that specific trigger point. But I really wanted to show that. I really wanted to show that reset state for the game.
Yeah. I just want to mention there is a thing in here though where you could theoretically skip that.
Yes, absolutely. But I wanted to waste the viewer's precious time.
Oh no, of course. That's an important part of this game, is to show that off. That the game is that mean.
So let's do this right. Why don't we? Alright. What'll it be? Liquor. Another. Here we go. By the way, honey. Divorce. Pay that alimony. And let's get the fuck out of here.
I'll mention as well, so, because we're not showing it, if you do pick the other option there, from what I recall, the wife becomes invincible, and you get stuck in an unwinnable situation.
Yes.
So the game does punish you if you go that route. Also, yeah, we get to see some of the super jumps.
Alley-oop. Alright, back to the airport. Now, clearly nothing is left on the table now that we've done everything we need to do.
Yeah, all our responsibilities.
Luckily, we're so thorough.
Mhm.
Why do people watch the show? I mean, I have to ask at a certain point. What have we done to like earn any trust from the audience if we pull off stupid shit like this so frequently?
I mean, this is the game. This is, if you're showing off Takeshi's challenge, then this is what you show off. Again, like, kind of in that same vein, and I'm going to pick on someone in chat here. K4 Boom says, I punched Takeshi just for that scummy trick. That's what this game is.
It's a joke.
This
It's
game is a joke.
It is a gag on you.
Yeah, I mean, the joke is on you, but I wouldn't call it scummy. I was just saying, like, it's like, yep, you got tricked. Like, that's the end of the joke.
Luckily, our plane ticket entitles us to infinite flights. Luckily, that one plane ticket we bought, we just keep on writing a new date on it, and they're none the wiser.
It's like one of those forever stamps.
Alright, let's max out our HP, why don't we?
Mm-hmm. This is good to do because the revive trick. We did mention this. The revive button combination doesn't work in the hang glider section.
Right, and
We don't have enough
your
money.
health. Well, go gamble.
Yep, no, we can do that.
Yeah, your health in the hang glider section is dependent on your health in the overworld.
First of all,
I mean, you'll get a little money doing this.
yes, I want a little bit more when we go in.
Are you gonna, like, save state here for the sake
I'm
of
gonna
gambling?
rewind, yeah. Red. Bad luck, no.
That makes me wonder if it's random or not.
I believe it is, to an extent.
Well, or let me rephrase this. I wonder when it chooses.
Based on
Bad
how
luck.
I know,
Okay, so I think it chooses when
Before
you
we,
pick the
yeah.
thing.
yeah. Based on how I know old games work, where they would have you know, a sequenced number table for the randomizer. It's just literally the frame you press the button on.
Right. So that's why I was
Double.
wondering, like, if it matters at all that you would pick a different one.
Bad luck. Bad luck. We've won twice so far, by the way. So obviously this is not a reliable way as a player to maximize your money, because you always stand the risk of losing half of it. But this is an option. This and grinding out NPCs, just killing as many people as you can, and that's extra handy with the gun. Now granted, it's only 300 yen every time, but how much do we need? 60,000? Let's try it like this. Bad luck. We could also just cheat. I could also just go into the cheats here and see if there's a money cheat for this. And you can just assume that we got really lucky at the casino. It seems like a weird time to start using cheats in this game. It feels like we should have, could have used this at any point before this and saved the viewers a lot of time. But where would the fun in that be? How would that be doing Takeshi justice here? Takeshi no Chōsenjō. Only cheat here is infinite energy. Awesome. Well, it means we're going to have to do this ourselves. All right. Here's a quick refresher on how to cheat in video games. 16,800. All right. Let's go to the cheats. Let's start or continue cheat. 8-bit maximum value. Or actually, you know what? Is there a floating value here? No, I'm thinking of cheat engine. Search memory for value. Wait, is this right? Oh, right, no, I'm in the wrong section here. Let us... Oh, right, I need to start. This may take a minute. Oh, wait, you know what? 16-bit isn't enough.
Remember, I don't know if values lower than 100 yen exist. So it might literally only be saved in, like, 168.
That's true. You know what? Forget that.
Hey! Yeah, I think it's just, if you just get the time in, change the time, and you press the inputs in.
Here we go. Yeah, I think I figured it out. Just, if you do it immediately...
Oh, well, there you go. That's the pro tip.
I don't know if this has been documented, but this is how you... Yeah, okay. There we go, I figured something out. That's my contribution to this video game now. We actually legitimately, I think, discovered something there. Because I have not seen anyone mention how you can cheat the timing at the casino there, so... You're welcome, Internet. Yep. Rest up. And let's do it again. Yep. And you know what? 127 health. Let's see how high it goes. See what the cap on that is.
I think this is the cap.
It is the cap. You cannot actually get more than 127 health because of the 128 integer, etc., 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 etc.
So I went off to try and find one of those energy drink squirter things, that you put in your water. Because I just need a little bit more for tonight, but I can't find the unopened pack I have. I have no idea where it is.
It's a shame, because I actually do have some. They came in my HelloFresh this week.
I ended up just picking up one of those 8.4 fluid ounce Red Bulls from downstairs.
Take too long to ship anyway, so it's not worth it.
This actually has less caffeine than those energy squirt things would have had, so this is good for late at night.
Let's do it again.
Alright. Do it again, this time without a wife.
So what we're doing is something I want to talk about is you talked about Cass, a lot of the misunderstanding around the game about trying to play it as a traditional game and beat it and things like that.
Yes.
And being misunderstood. Do you think that's possibly was like part of the joke though, like intentionally calling the game Takeshi's Challenge?
I would say absolutely.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's a a preconceived notion that like that's the there is a goal. There is
something
the
that's the preconceived notion of games in general, is that
Oh, sure, yeah.
there's like you are going in there with the sole purpose of I will reach the ending. And this is a game that really fights against you every step of the way to be like, no.
Yeah, it's just
And
it's,
like just trolls you for doing things that are on the correct path. Like you can be on the correct path, and then the game would be like, guess what? You didn't divorce your wife. Try it over.
yeah.
I think ultimately they expected most players would spend most of their time just in the starting part of the game, enjoying themselves playing pachinko and doing karaoke, and seeing what items do what, experiencing different gags as they pop up. You know, and the useless items, red herrings in the stores, in and of themselves are gags, like going to the store to buy a porno magazine or get Takeshi's autograph, you know, are jokes in and of themselves, and the fact you can burn yen on them, burn in-game yen to no end, is meant to show, like, this is just a goof. This is just a joke.
Yeah.
So they're not, like, completely mean to the point where if you go to the inventory, you can clearly see, like, here are the items that actually show up. So you at least know, they at least have some, well, shit. That's why we don't want to be at the top of the screen. There we go. It should keep us relatively safe. At least until the UFO starts spawning again. Second island or third island? I've lost track. We'll know the island when we see it, obviously.
I think third island is the one shaped like a butt, so I think you just passed it.
I didn't have to rewind as much this time.
No?
Not claiming I'm any good at this, but...
Yeah, there we are.
Oh, the wind got me.
That's the danger of this island. There you go.
And there we go. Now we're here with plenty of health to spare. Now, we know that going into any of these random villagers' houses will not end well for us.
Right.
Except this one at the end here. This is the human they are referring to in the in the hint. It's not gonna go great for us, but hey you, what are you doing in my house? I want to say hello. Give you a present. Fuck you!
Fuck
Where's
you.
the treasure? Give me the treasure.
I want to imagine these are not choices, but these are everything he says in order.
Yes.
I want to say hello and give you a present. Fuck you! Where's the treasure? Give me the treasure.
Well, let's
I
ask where the
really hope
treasure
it's-
is. Creep, get in the pot. Ha ha ha! Learned your lesson? Now show me a trick before you die. Could, if we had our breakdancing skill, maybe we could do that? We could beg for mercy, we can lunge.
yeah.
Let's lunge. And that actually does get you out of the pot, for what it's worth. But it doesn't help us any. Let's see what
you
happens if
take
we choose
lessons.
breakdancing.
Oh.
I don't want an amateur shitty performance. People without anything to show off should just die. Start the fire. Help!
That's a messed
Someone
up
of-
thing to say.
I wonder if breakdancing would work. I guess that's the last thing that remains to be tested here. But, you know what we do have? We got our shamisen. That's amazing. I respect you. See the hermit who lives on this island. He still tries to
Dude,
punch us
fuck
on the way
you.
out, but that's not strictly necessary. You don't
Yes.
need to experience that, gab the shamisen, do all that, but it helps. And now let's lose all our health because these monkeys are tossing shit at us.
I don't remember exactly where there is a hidden heart.
Yeah, it's the 32nd tree. Or the 23rd. Here we go.
No, this is the 23rd tree.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what the 23rd hint was about.
Don't shout like that, man. Hello. Fucking stop that. I feel great after taking a dump on the top of a mountain. So this guy is obviously a reference to the Japanese soldiers who remained on islands unaware that the war had ended. And this one just happens to have a helpful hint about taking a shit. So again, more topical humor in this game.
Not the first time we've had a hint like that either.
So not strictly necessary again, but that is the last hint-granting NPC who is not, like, strictly necessary. We can go in this hut. And this seems like a guy who'd be useful. He's not.
Hello.
We can't hurt him either. But he does have the appearance of someone that we will be meeting shortly that is actually useful. Walk past this mountain. Surely we won't have to come back here ever. And let's check out this hut, why don't we? Oh, wrong hut.
Nope.
Now, there is actually a secret to getting out of these huts.
Yeah.
Only some of them it works for, but I think there's like a secret passage somewhere around here.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where, but it is like past that window.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have to hold it for. I don't know if you have to hold it for an extremely long amount of time or not.
No, this is the amount of time it would take to go through a door. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
not worth
if you were to get through it, it would take you back to like the main island.
Yeah, you'd have to go way back, and you'd have to do the flying section over again. But there is at least a way out of some of these houses, at least.
And failing that, you could do the password thing, which also takes you back to the main island.
Yep.
And this is the first place where you need to use the high jump.
Yep. If I can remember the exact position you need to land on here. First of all, let's die.
The high jump is done by
tapping down
and then
before you jump. Yeah.
Crouch and jump in.
And this came out before Doki Doki Panic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is.
Almost at it.
There we are. What do you want? Just visiting. About the treasure. Nothing. Give a present. Perform. No strangers allowed. Get out. Alright. Alright. This is the sage.
Okay.
That was mentioned. The wet sage.
Yeah.
Which is a hint
is,
to give him a canteen full of water. That's very
would've-
useful. I'll take it.
I would not have figured it out.
As thanks, here's a hint to help you get the treasure. The villagers have the key to the treasure. Get it from them. So, if I want to be gracious to this game, I would say that all these options for the presents are pre-written. The canteen option popping up is not contingent on whether or not you have the canteen in your inventory or not.
Yeah, because I saw a monkey. You don't have a monkey.
Stop messing around and go. Someone else is going to get that treasure. You know what that means? We have to go back to the village chief.
Yep.
And I know people are talking about it in chat. I've avoided mentioning the natives here and their depictions. 1986. You know, what can you do? And the fact that you have to kill them because they're all immediately hostile to you, you know, the less said about that, the better as well.
Yeah, I mean, old media is old media to a certain point. It is worth pointing out, where their faults are, but you kind of, at a certain point, have to be like, that this is kind of what people were making at the time. We learn from the mistakes of the past.
So if we return to this guy having spoken to the sage, if we now say, give you a present, he will actually hear us out instead of immediately chucking us in the pot. Is it where we give him the poetry or the embroidery? As thanks, take this island's sacred rock, which you can actually switch to as a weapon. It is a slower bullet. A much slower bullet. Oh, fuck you. Creep, get in the pot. Show me a trick before you die. I wonder if this will work twice. Yep. Great. Good to know.
I love they don't have a bespoke song for that. There's just a couple of random high-pitched notes play.
Alright, let's start... Oh my god, we have so much money. Let's start using select to clear enemies from the screen, because at this point, the barrage is obviously untenable, for the most part. This will also be essential. Revive. Go back. Clear it. This is the strategy. This is the ideal way to play, for better or for worse.
Are you still using the rock as a weapon?
No, I switched.
No, okay.
Okay. We are now approaching endgame, folks. First things first,
First try there.
This is the holy mountain, the top of the mountain, where we need to take a shit. But by take a shit, it means press down, which will warp you into the caves. We are now in the caves, which are populated by bandits and other baddies.
Let me get them up again.
I think I remember how to solve this. There are hidden warps in here.
Yes. Here we go. Now, the first one was...
It's
the first time is above the big rock. There we go.
Here you go.
The second level is below the third rock.
Weird enemies in this place, but, hey, you gotta introduce some variety at the last second, I guess. So I believe this one, we have to go right. It should be mentioned that if you just go in the other directions, I think it's just dead ends, ultimately. If I recall correctly. You know what? Fuck it, we're here already.
I guess those are supposed to be boulders, but they kind of just look like chocolate chip cookies.
Let's see what happens if we go to the left. And I'll just rewind when I feel like we've, gone too far in the wrong direction. Assuming that it isn't just a dead end. I wonder if someone has mapped these caves out. Yeah, okay, no, never mind.
Surely.
But here you are. Dead end. Let me out of here. At least they don't waste too much of your time. I mean, the whole game's a waste of time, right? So, I guess they are wasting lots of your time. But at least they don't have you walking too far in the wrong directions.
K4 Boom says, oh good, it's a teleporter maze. It's not a maze. It's a linear path.
Now,
granted, you have to figure out where the fuck to crouch to move to the next level, but you can't like loop back or anything.
Yeah, we have to figure out where third rock is.
and where are those hints given again? NPCs who say the,
Yeah. These were the NPCs,
on the first island, or not the first island, but on the main island, the one that you land the plane in, as opposed to the one that you land the hang glider in.
Yeah, we did get at least one of these.
Ugh. There we go. Little tricky to navigate in here. Is it somewhere?
I might look it up.
No, I know Johnny has it.
Well, like I said, below third rock is what the hint says.
Yeah, I might look up the actual location of it.
Yeah.
Is it somewhere here? I feel like it's on this screen.
Okay, I can tell you it's never on a floating platform.
Aha, okay. Yes. You
Found it.
You got it.
Right when I looked at the image of it, you got it.
Okay, I kind of remember what the third one looks like.
Yeah.
We have skeletons to fight now.
Yeah, the hint here is weird. Bird in front of Compass Rock. Which,
Look at these little troll fellas in the...
when you see where it is, doesn't make any sense. But that's
can't
what the
pass
hint
under
is.
that. We need to go back right. It's gonna keep clearing enemies from the screen, but we need to get on top of this. Just keep doing this. You notice also we have a divorce letter on our inventory, so it's good to have.
Video Game King is making some poop taking based theories. I just want to clarify, I'm not sure if the hint is supposed to be literal. That you're literally pooping to enter secret areas. I think it is just...
I think the joke is that when you're squatting, it looks like you're taking a poop.
Yes.
But, could be wrong. We'll have to... If anyone talks to the devs and they confirm.
If anyone can ask Beat Takeshi.
Did we just...
We might have passed it, or this could be it.
I think he might have just passed it.
Let's see. There'll be 4 of these small rocks in a row. That's the thing to look out for.
But is it this right here?
No.
No? Okay, then keep going left.
I knew I was on the right path.
It does say travel left.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember, because I've seen where it is. I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, I vaguely know where it is, too. I should mention, it's not my first time beating this game. You're not seeing me beat this for the first time live tonight.
Of course.
And a game like this kind of sticks with you, doesn't it?
Okay.
We're getting close.
Yeah, I think this is it. Yep.
There it
there we
is.
go.
Apparently that's Compass Rock. Who knows what that means?
Yeah, let's take a look at it just real quick.
No, I don't see it.
Well, yeah, I don't see it either.
Yeah. Unless that's like a mistranslation. I'm curious.
I wonder what these monsters are supposed to be.
Homer Simpson.
Okay, this is just using Google Translate, but they just say the third floor is in front of the wall. So yeah, that might be mistranslation saying compass.
Just some guys.
Just some guys.
We found it.
The treasure's real! That's right, folks. Through
It's
trial
real.
and tribulation, we have finally made it to the big treasure. There's only one thing left to do. That is to finally see the ending to Takeshi no Chōsenjō. Haha, fool! I've been following you! The treasure is mine! Die!
Oh no! Old man! Our friend! Our buddy!
So...
I guess it was his treasure map.
So, remember back in the karaoke bar?
Yeah.
And how the old man respawns, it shows up on the screen after you solve the map in whichever way you choose to solve the map. You need to beat him to death. Otherwise, you get this incredibly cruel false ending.
Yeah, it's not pacifist Takeshi.
So let's go ahead, start the game one more time. No. This one I have a save state for, mercifully.
Okay.
I did prepare this in advance a little bit. It might not be the same exact inventory, but this save would assume that we've done everything right up to this point and beat the shit out of that old man. Is this the last chamber, or...
I don't see any homers, so...
No, okay, so I made my save state was a little too early.
We're... Oh, okay, I think I know where we are now. Keep going left.
Beginning of the cave, yeah. I could have done a little bit of a better job. I could have saved a little closer to to where it needed to be. But, hey, you know, it means we can extend the playtime just a little bit more for this game.
Yeah. Paula says Sierra ain't got shit on this. You know, that's a point. That, people can say, like, oh, how cruel this game is. But, like, Sierra was doing this shit, too. You could easily put yourself into a lot of, like, Dead Man Walking situations in those adventure games as well. It's not unique to this game.
No. It's... I know I'll be on stream one day, but it's reminding me of Clock Tower. Is it Ghost Head?
Yeah, or also known as Clock Tower 2: The Struggle Within.
But yeah, let's leave that for when we play that.
Oh yeah, I won't give any specific examples, but
a truly cruel game that is meant to be played by means of trial and error. And you have to also understand that was a lot of games back then. I know we mentioned Sierra, but a lot of Japanese games. We always talk about, it's almost like it was a running joke at a certain point on the website, on the Bad Game Hall of Fame website. Tower of Druaga, a game that came out and changed the industry forever by introducing trial and error bullshit as a central mechanic, as a design choice, as players working together to solve puzzles, to say, like, well, I made it this far and then this happened at the end, so make sure that if you're going to play this game, you avoid these pitfalls, avoid these traps, make sure you do this and that. This was certainly a way to extend the playability in a very cynical, mean sort of way, but it is also, a means of giving people something to talk about when it comes to these games. That someone who has solved, someone who has done the science on themselves and knows they have friends playing the game can share with them and say, like, hey, make sure you do this, otherwise you're fucked come the end of the game.
And there was no shortage of people who had this game.
Absolutely. All right. I finally found the treasure. Amazing.
there he is.
So while we're sitting here, do we want to give our thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is a good
overall?
time for it. I'll let people know just why we're still on the screen that if you wait 5 minutes on here, we will get the real ending of the game. We will get the true ending to Takeshi no Chōsenjō. I'm seeing some reactions in chat.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll start since I did the service of playing the game. People saying this sucks, this is mean, this is the worst, all that work for this. Remember, this game wasn't meant to be beaten, folks. The ultimate joke is on you. The message of this game could not be more clear to me. It is that games are not all meant to be beaten. I mean, to a certain extent, you want to maximize the playability in a game, sure. At a certain point, what Takeshi wanted this game to be was an experience, was not necessarily an adventure so much as an experience, and those are two very separate things. Ultimately, the goal of this game is to live and inhabit this world, to see everything there is to see, however long that takes you, at whatever pace you decide to take it at. The amount of options on display, the amount of things you can do in this game, even if so many of them are red herrings, dead ends, completely flavor that don't serve any purpose, the fact that they're still there and serve as gags in and of themselves is incredibly ambitious. And the things you can do in this game, the amount of options that really are there, are ambitious. The fact that you can go play pachinko, watch movies, do these things. You could play this game. You could choose to completely ignore the critical path and play it as if it were like an RPG where you're just grinding out money by beating the shit out of Yakuza thugs and then choosing to purchase one of everything in the game. That could be someone's way to enjoy this game, and that would be just as valid in the eyes of Takeshi, in the eyes of the designers.
It did happen in the playthrough, but I want to mention that you can actually win points playing pachinko as well.
Absolutely,
If
you
you
can play
do
that
get
legitimately.
The precision right,
Yeah.
yeah, you can win balls back.
I mean, I guess you could think about it as like, also like, what if you wanted to beat The Sims?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Like, what does that even mean, beat The Sims? And like, this was, I think, trying to be something where, on the one hand, obviously, they put in a critical path to the ending as a joke. Like, the game is by a comedian. It exists as a joke. I think they were kind of upfront about it being cryptic and being this thing that was like, I am playing a game from a jokester, and he will be playing jokes on me. But it also exists as this thing you can just like experience. And if you want to go past that experience and be like, well, okay, well, show me, how do I beat this game? It's like, you want to beat it? Okay. I mean, here you go. This is the way to beat it if you want to do that.
And you better believe that the ending will make fun of you for it, that it's going to be as anticlimactic as possible, between the false endings as well that are deliberately there to basically reinforce, like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do this?
K4 Boom says Sims doesn't even have an ending, and that is my point. That it is like a thing that is not supposed to have an ending, but if you approach it like, well, I want to beat it, and like you take that to the conclusion of, well, okay, like here is a way to beat it, and like the joke is, yeah, you weren't. That wasn't the point of what you did, but you found a way to do it, I guess. Good job.
Yeah.
And ultimately,
the way I put it almost is that the joke being made is your actions. Like, it's not telling a joke, like what the steps it's making you go through, and the fact that all the roadblocks you're hitting and some of the counterintuitive stuff. There we go.
you actually bother to finish this crappy game? Sucker. Don't take it so seriously.
Yeah, the joke.
Yeah, exactly.
The joke's on you. You're the punchline.
There is the
essentially.
punchline. There is the ultimate. That is the full,
Yeah.
proper, true ending to Takeshi no Chōsenjō. Right
and you
there.
know what? It's sometimes you kind of have to just look at yourself and be like, they got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
It
Yeah, like,
reminds-
don't take things. It said right there. Don't take it too seriously. Like you got to realize that, you know what? Like I got tricked. You got the better of me. I see what you did there, and you roll with those punches.
And ultimately, you know, another part of the design for people, because they knew people would want to beat this game, right? The strategy guide. And the fact that the first strategy guide had legitimate, you know, like did not tell you how to solve the game completely, necessitating the purchase of a second strategy guide. There is the entire possibility that that too was deliberate. And that, you know, again, it's a joke on people who take these games seriously enough and who would brag about finishing a game. I think what I really want to say to pull this all together is that games are so often about the destination, is the way that people perceive and approach games. That people are so concerned with getting to an ending that they don't stop to appreciate the things along the way. That they don't really appreciate the journey, as it were. And this game is the boldest proclamation of that has ever existed. It is a game that actively punishes you for pushing against it and forcing it to end. And which rewards you in some ways, which it's meant to show you that, like, hey, that starting world, that beginning of the game, living like life and not going on this ridiculous quest, enjoy it on those terms. Enjoy the experience. I think it is an incredibly bold, artistic, deliberate intention on their part. Do me a favor, fucking time out, K4 Boom. I'm fucking tired of all these messages. Look, you can feel whatever way you want to feel about this, and boy howdy, you let your opinions be known, and I'm sure other people in the chat are too, and that's fine. Just we're not gonna make too fine a point of it. You fell for it. Accept that it's a joke. Accept that there was a message here. Art is meant to make you feel things. Art is meant to elicit some sort of reaction from you. That doesn't always mean it's a great reaction or a positive reaction. Sometimes you have to feel angry and upset to get the point across. And I think a player who stuck it through to this point in the game would understand the message at this point. Or at least if they were open-minded, if they understood Takeshi Kitano's sense of humor, if they were willing to approach this with, you know, some openness to the idea of there being some sort of ending and taking away something from this screen here where you're told that you finished this crappy game, you would hopefully learn the lesson that was intended to be taught here.
Now, I want you to remember this speech when we eventually play Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah, I suppose so, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
the thing it reminds me of is
I was sick of hearing the song, by the way.
I'd have to
Sure.
look up all the specifics, but there's an invention someone made. It's a bicycle, but the way it's wired is if you turn the handlebars left, it turns the front wheel right. Like it actively fights against you, and that the point is that it doesn't work how you would think.
We're going for that second
And-
ending, by the way. We're going for the
Yes.
yes.
I was hoping you would.
Nah, I'm
But
just kidding.
like this is that kind of message of like, yeah, the point is that the game pushes against you
Mhm.
if you try and play it traditionally. And I saw some interesting stuff like Louise PSE mentioned thinking of Undertale. Undertale does some of those same tricks because if you try and play that game like a traditional RPG, it goes like, okay, then you're playing it like that, you're killing all these people, and it follows that conclusion. And even does some like meta stuff of if you do a complete good playthrough and then decide to go against it, and the game's like, well, if you do this, you're hurting all these people. And some other stuff like the Soul series, like a lot of FromSoft stuff, like the way those endings are kind of for pushing against the hardness. A lot of the time, the endings end up being like more bleak than if you actually just didn't finish the story. And yeah, like this is way ahead of its time because there's a lot of bigger games now, like very highly regarded games, doing those kind of interactive tricks. Like because this is an interactive medium. This is the only medium where you are like actively engaged and making things happen in the story.
Yes, where you have agency,
Yeah.
where you have control, where you are firmly planted and immersed in the
Yeah.
boots of the central character.
Yeah, and yeah, like fully seeing this, especially done in that way, because yeah, like my exposure was more like the game I was thinking of, just because it's maybe fresh in my head, but like in my head, this was closer to something like a Mylon Secret Castle of just, oh yeah, it's obscure hints. It's meant to sell a strategy guide, like that
Mhm.
kind of design. And that doesn't seem to be the intention. At least going going for the interview and seeing the tricks and the bits it plays on you, it makes me more think of it's such a weird pull, but Cat Mario.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
original Kaizo games
Yeah.
of old.
Which
Sayoban
if that,
Action, yeah, is
yeah,
the
if
official name
people
for
aren't
Cat
familiar,
Mario.
yeah, if people aren't familiar with Cat Mario, it's like a fan game version of Mario.
We actually played it
Uh,
in our comedian game
oh,
Cavalcade and went to a full
I
exploration
didn't
of its
know.
context.
Yeah.
Nice.
Adamant Arcvile also brings
Yep.
up like I want to be the guy,
Yep.
which
Yeah,
is
very similar vein to that. Yeah.
This
Mhm.
game walked so that those games could run. And so many of those games also feature direct references to Takeshi's challenge, Takeshi no Chōsenjō, because of course they do. Because this game, whether you like it or hate it, you have to respect it for its wild ambition. Again, I don't know if there's any way for us to overstate how absolutely expansive, how much you can do in this game. And for that reason, this game is brilliant. Like I know that it's gonna sound
yeah,
contrarian.
I want to say that if you watch this, if you watch this play this and you look at this and you think like I disagree. Like I think this looks awful. I would never want to play it. There's good news.
You don't
have
have to
play it.
Yeah. You watched us play it instead and experience it vicariously in all the twists and turns, or as many as them as we were able to demonstrate. But, you know, I do want to say, just before we cut to the epilogue screen, before we really close out the show, that, you know, a sort of final statement, and this is all very impromptu, mind you, so, you know, forgive me if this is not the most eloquent way to tidy up this point, to bring this full circle, is that it sounds contrarian to praise this game, just knowing how many people have throughout the decades just completely shit all over it and called it absolutely worthless. And at the top of the show, we talked about how I believe all those people, how I firmly believe in my heart of hearts that all those people are wrong, that they don't see the beauty of the game, that they don't understand what the game is about, that they fundamentally misunderstand the intention of the design, because all they know how to do, because the trap they all fall into between JonTron and even Game Center CX is just following the critical path, is just reading the strategy guide and missing the forest for the fucking trees, is ignoring everything else you can do in the game to follow this critical path. And that is the biggest condemnation of all time of all those fucking people.
The game, I feel, and I agree with you, Cass. I feel like the game is taking, especially back in, like, when did this game come out?
1986, December 10th, 1986.
Yeah. Like, back in 86, like, asking the player, like, hey, why does a game have to be beaten? Right? Like, why can't a game be something that isn't, I reach the end? Why can't it be like, I experience this world? And like it does that through a comedic lens of like, if you want to insist like I must beat this game because this is what I think games are, and yeah, it goes like, okay, yes, for it. But that early on asking that question that we would see like in stuff that we would call, that some people may call artsy fartsy later on in I wish I could think of some examples off the top of my head, because I know I've played games that are like, why are you trying to beat this? But this was getting asked back in 1986.
Yeah.
And
like I said, I
comedic lens.
I reference Undertale because if you do the quote genocide run, it directly says some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. And so with that, and also I guess like one last one addendum note is that, you know, this game would not have been possible, and that these ideas on some level did not come from traditional game designers. The idea for this game was designed by Beat Takeshi, for better or for worse. I think for better. I think bringing on people who are not necessarily industry veterans, who are not necessarily game designers, and seeing what their ideas are and how they perceive games, people just play games, can be a incredibly important perspective to have. This is how Takeshi saw video games and what he wanted out of a game. Some developers heeded his words and implemented his vision, and gave us this end result. And you usually when a celebrity's in a game, their role is just to play actor in this. This is what happens when you give a brilliant person like Takeshi Kitano, who would go on to become a world-renowned director for his creative vision, for his singular vision on things. He made a game in 1986 at the peak of his fame, and he used it to say this message. And that should be celebrated. It should be respected. It should be seen as one of the first subversive video games, and it should be seen as one of the most important video games of its era for that reason. The fact that it's still a game being talked about, that they're able to issue these reissues and conversions of it, and that there's still some amount of interest in that, speaks volumes to just how culturally impactful things we see in games that have come after that directly reference this in whichever ways they do, or that traffic and similar messages, speaks to just how forward-thinking this game was and how ahead of the curve Takeshi Kitano was.
Yeah. Also, one other aspect we didn't touch on much.
Make
but
this the
also
last one, please, so we can.
But it's contemporary setting as well, like in a video game, because video game, especially then, was fantasy, futuristic kind of things like that, and then putting it in a mundane situation that obviously goes absurdist when you try to reach the end path, and that's part of the joke even on it. But I was even thinking of like where the Mother series, like the Earthbound stuff, like it's very different, but it's still playing on that idea, and this is still before that. Like, subverting what a video game is by having this real world simulation like esque thing as well.
Absolutely. And on that note,
Yeah.
folks, that was Takeshi no Chōsenjō in as much detail as we could show, with as many words as we saw fit, we're able to muster up to talk about it.
I do one quick thing.
Sure.
If you do find doing the normal playthrough unsatisfying, there is a way to beat the game in under 6 minutes.
Just the speed run way.
If you want to do the speed run way, so look into that. If I realized there was that, I would have learned how to do that. But go look that up because it's.
I was thinking the
funny.
same thing. I just didn't have time.
Yeah, and ultimately, again, that's still thwarting the purpose, the intended mission statement of the game. But hey, that's exploration. That's, the benefit of modern lens. It is
funny.
You know what? You know what? What you could think of it this way: like, if the entire game is a joke, if the critical path to beating it is a joke being played on you by Takeshi,
play a joke
learning
back.
how to speed run it and beat in 6 minutes is a joke on Takeshi.
Subvert the subversion, if you will, if you so please.
Yeah.
But again, just a game that I think no one has gotten right, save for that Connor Sear and maybe a couple other people that I'm just not privy to. But I really felt obligated to do it right on stream. I hope we did. That game is a personal favorite of mine. Legitimately. I just think it is so neat. I think it is so cool. I think it is the perfect bad game. I think it represents how things that are, unplayable, some would say impossible, frustrating, can still have intentionality behind them, ambition in spades. God, it's great. It's awful. It's the worst. It's the best. It's the duality of Takeshi, and it's beautiful. Thank you, folks, for watching along with us. Thank you for tuning in to Takeshi no Chōsenjō. Thank you so much for sticking through this. I know it was a long one, and that a full third of it was just history, but again, important history. And I know the other half of it, the other 2/3, half of it was red herring bullshit, but that's the game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the nature of the game.
If you liked what you saw here tonight... to answer an awkward question from Emerald Sun Disc, is Beat Takeshi still around? Yes! 77 years young, still directing, still acting.
If you have Amazon Prime, you can see the new episodes of Takeshi's Castle they made.
And they're great.
Yeah.
Chitan got robbed, is all I'll say to that subject.
Mm-hmm.
If you like what you saw here tonight, folks... Oh, please, Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, he's still putting stuff out. He has a new movie coming out next year called Broken Rage.
That's true.
There you go.
Still one of the most active men, one of the busiest men in Japan, and one of the busiest men in show business. God bless him for it. Okay. No more? We're good?
Yeah.
Road's clear? The runway's clear?
Take us out.
if you like what you saw here tonight, folks, consider, if you would, financially supporting the Bad Game Hall of Fame by subscribing here on Twitch, pledging on Patreon, becoming a member on YouTube, doing any of the above will grant you access to the Patreon Saints channel on our Discord server, wherein you will be able to vote in polls and make suggestions and do all sorts of things to help steer the direction of the show. We currently have a poll running at the time of this recording, where we're going to pick our next playthrough. The options on that poll are Batman Dark Tomorrow, Hellboy Asylum Seeker, Highlander The Last of the McClouds, Overblood, and Welcome House. So if you'd like to vote in that poll, you still have 2 days left, I believe. Today's Tuesday, right? Right?
For me, it's 4:20 in the morning right now, so...
Oh, right. I think it's Tuesday. We're going to begin that playthrough on Thursday, so I guess you have like a day or two to vote in that poll, if you're listening to this right now. That being said, if you can't financially support us, no worries. We completely understand. Consider, if you want to still help the channel out in some capacity, sharing our suggested viewing playlist over on YouTube. It is 20 hand-picked episodes that we think make for good onboarding onto the Bad Game Hall of Fame, into this show that we run. Or maybe you know someone who is a Beat Takeshi super fan, or maybe you know Beat Takeshi himself and you want to send this playthrough his way. Let me know if you're able to pull that off for us. We leave it to your discretion, dear viewer, which videos you think, or if you want to send the playlist. You know the deal. You know the drill by this point, folks. And also the Discord server, I should mention, if I forgot to mention it earlier, that even if you're not a financial supporter, you can still join the Discord server. Come hang out with us, please. We're always doing something in there. But yeah, hot damn, what a game. Let's see who is streaming at this hour. This ungodly hour, this 4:20 in the morning, if you're in UK time.
It's the most happening time, though. That's the secret. No one knows.
I see Author Blues is playing Marpar Jambar, which looks to be Mario Party. It looks like they're doing a Mario Party jamboree of sorts. And, you know, we have our own pitiful party game segment. So if you want to see some Mario parties, you know, what the future may hold for us one day, consider giving that a watch. Let them know we sent you. Let them know the Bad Game Hall of Fame just finished playing Takeshi no Chōsenjō. And, shit. That'll do it. I again, really hope sincerely that we did this game some amount of justice. I really wanted to get this one right. I feel like we gave a thorough exploration. I feel like we covered a lot of the history. We did the best we could. I thank you, Charky and Johnny, for accompanying me on this one, for being support on this. Absolutely necessary. Could not do this show without the likes of you two. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, audience at home. We obviously wouldn't be doing it without you. On that note, there's nothing left to say, but I've been Beat Cassidy.
I've been Punch Charky.
And I've been punch drunk, Johnny Baghead.
Thank you again, one and all. And remember our famous catchphrase we say at the end of every one of these streams: don't get eliminated! That's an MXC reference. We went the entire show without doing an MXC reference.
No, we didn't. We started with an MXC reference.
Oh,
said,
right.
Let's get it on.
Well, shit. In that case, bye!
Good night, everybody.
Toodles.